Mookie Betts will lead it off. Corey Seager bats in the number 2 spot. Justin Turner hits 30 DHs tonight. In the middle, it's Max Muncy. Will Smith, Cody Bellinger had a big 9th inning hit last night. Jock Peterson, Edwin Rios, you heard from Kenny, gets the start tonight. We'll give you more on him. Obviously, Chris Taylor bats in the number 9 spot. He's at second base, made a very good defensive play last night. And here is the right-hander Kyle Wright, who, well, he went 0-4 with an ERA over 8 over his first 5 starts. They shipped him out. He found his stuff, and he's come back and looked outstanding.
Yeah, he's got electric stuff. 5 different pitches he can throw. He's in his recent success. Part of it's due to the fact that he went over to the first base side of the rubber to kind of use that sinker as an advantage pitch that he has now gone to. But Kyle Wright, if he commands the strike zone, has been tough. 3-0 in his last 4. And he's looking to continue the same magic that the Brave starters have had this whole postseason.
All right, Mookie Betts will try to get it going for the Dodgers here tonight. He jumps on the first pitch, grounds to third. That's a fair ball. Tough play, and got him. And that's all Freddie Freeman. He somehow maneuvered his body to corral that throw. It was a good play by Camargo, but he avoided the runner, kept his foot on the bag, and got the out.
This is incredible. It tested Camargo right away, new third baseman for the Braves, and Freddie was in foul territory. The only way that he could have made that play with the runner coming as the throw, you can't really see the throw in the glove in that frame, but they're going to challenge that. The speed of Betts. Look, for the Dodgers, they need all they can get going early to take the lead. That's going to be really, really close. But what a play by Freddie Freeman. Only option was to back up, use that large frame, and that could have been a collision that was avoided because of Freddie.
All right, let's go to Mike Pereira. Mike, what did you see?
Just kidding.
I think you could make the case either way, and I know that by the letter of the law they talk about the ball hitting the back of the glove when it touches the leather. It's not the squeeze.
I think he's going to be safe.
I think he's safe. Yeah. I really do.
Yeah, that's such a tough call live, right? Bang, bang play. You're listening for the glove and the foot hitting the bag, but I think in that view right there, it's going to be overturned, and the Dodgers get their first leadoff hitter on base in a while.
And he's safe. I think that's the right call. Dodgers are on the top step of their dugout cheering. As Betts went after the first pitch, as you said, Camargo, who was just added to the roster with the injury to Duvall in Game 1. Ball finds him right away on the first pitch. And let's show you this regular speed, and I mean by a fraction of a second. He was safe. All right, leadoff man is on. Infield hit by Betts, and now Seager jumps on the first pitch. Drives it into left center, and that ball is cut off. But all the way around in 2 pitches, the Dodgers strike first. Mookie Betts from first, 1-0 on an RBI double by Corey Seager. And that's exactly the start the Dodgers needed here tonight.
Yeah, in traditional standards, we would be moving to different stadiums, right? But because we're in the same stadium, the Dodgers being the visitor actually was an advantage for them, because they lost the first 2 games, and that stumble right there cost any chance that the Braves had to stop Mookie Betts and his speed from scoring.
Austin Riley, who you heard Kenny talk about moving from third to the outfield, he got to it, cut it off, but then went down. And once that happened, Mookie Betts, no chance to get him. How about Corey Seager? And his last 3 at-bats, a 3-run homer, an RBI double, and now another. And I don't know how Darno picked that out of the dirt from the right-hander Kyle Wright. As it's ball 1 to Justin Turner as the Dodgers jump on top and score first for the first time in this series. Perfect pick as that was bounced in by Kyle Wright. Justin Turner is 2 for 9, no RBIs in this series. 3 this postseason. Bats with Seager at second, nobody out.
That slider and curveball combination that Kyle Wright has is really good when he stays on top of the ball. Sinker's going to be the most he throws at about 32%. Then he's going to follow it with the slider, four-seam fastball, changeup, and curveball.
Well, you come into the game thinking the same way for the Dodgers, the way they attack the young starters the first 2 games. They're going to be patient. They're going to try to get the pitch count up. The first 2 guys swing at the first pitch, and it delivers a run. Now a ground ball to Camargo. Routine play here. And Turner grounds out 5-3, staying at second. Seager one away with Muncy cut up. Our Ford Keys to the Game is presented to you by John Smoltz.
Yeah, 2 of them already happened. Get the lead. That was the key for the Dodgers. They haven't had the lead, and then lefties got to do some damage. Kyle Wright, the only weak spot has been against the lefties. You see the opponent's batting average. For the Braves, get greedy, and that means just try to play this game in a fashion where it may be an elimination game. Try to go up 3-0, and the right time for Kyle Wright has been the last 4 games. He has gotten his best pitching at the right time of the year.
Here is Max Muncy. He homered last night. Just smoked one into right. And that is down and away for ball 1.
You know, people always want to know, Joe, like, how does baseball work from other sports? Is there a carryover effect? Can momentum jump on a team's back? You know, based on last 9th inning, your momentum is as good as your next day's starting pitcher. It's that simple. So if Julio Urias was able to deliver, then that's your momentum. Then your hitters feast off of that too.
Muncy grounds it to the second baseman, Albies. Over to third is Seager, 2 down. And you know, part of the defense will give you the rest. For the Braves, sponsored by AT&T Business. Austin Riley is in left. Pache is in center. Acuna Jr. in right. Camargo at third. Swanson at short. Albies at second. Freddie Freeman dancing around over at first base. The catcher is Travis d'Arnaud, and Kyle Wright is trying to keep this a 1-run inning at the start of his night.
This is a tough matchup against Will Smith. Good sinking fastball hitter. You got to maybe go 4-seamer and use your curveball.
The ball. Ball 1 to Smith, who is just 1 for 9 in this series. No RBIs. 6 hits this postseason, but 5 of them came in that one game. Game 3 of the divisional playoff against San Diego. Runner at third, 2 out. Smith trying to double the lead. That is down again to the count 2-0.
So with Kyle Smith coming into the league, and certainly the draft that the Braves made came with high marks, and he has struggled mightily up until these last 4 games. Going up, going down, going in the bullpen, and now by necessity, he's been able to know he's given the ball every 5 days. It's helped with his confidence, and moving over to the first base side of the rubber has done as well.
But he's missed with the first 3 to Smith, with the left-handed hitting Bellinger on deck.
But see, here's what scouting report and information can do sometimes. You've got a really good sinker, but you're going up against a guy who hits the sinker real well. So what happens? First 3 pitches, breaking balls, you get behind an account. At some point, he'll have to establish his fastball against Will Smith.
That's why I know it drives you crazy when you talk to these pitchers and you ask almost all of them, especially the young guys, how do you balance the scouting report you get with what you're good at?
Yeah. And that's a challenge for him, because there's so much information, and the information can be overwhelming and statistically proving what a guy can or cannot do.
Here's one well hit into center. That ball is down. Base hit for Smith. It's 2-0, and Smith is into second with a double. 2-0, Dodgers on top as Smith delivers his first LCS RBI here in 2020.
This is what you do when you're a good sinker hitter. You go up the middle. This ball ends up curving away. This is an incredible play by Acuna. That ball should have got by him. But when we get a chance to watch this angle as he came in the second really hard, sliding in. I'm sorry, Pache in center, not Acuna. This ball acted like a slider action going to center field. It hooked a lot.
Well, a big 2-out RBI double by the outstanding 25-year-old catcher. He's been searching for that in this LCS, and he pushed it to second. He showed his good speed last night as he beat a play at first on what was ruled an error by Albies. Kept that ninth inning alive, and the Dodgers, who at one point trailed 7-0, lost the ball game 8-7 with the tying run 90 feet away. Bellinger comes up empty, didn't have much of a swing, maybe tried to hold up, strike one. Cody last night stepped up in the ninth inning, delivered an RBI double, and he was the one, or rather triple, he was the one standing at third when the game ended on a ground out by Pollock. Now you get into 3 straight left-handed batters for Kyle Wright.
That's where he's struggled on the year. Lefty-righty splits. Left-handers have had their way this year.
Let the ball out.
That is called a ball at 96. 1 ball, 1 strike on Bellinger, reigning National League MVP.
See, this is another guy, okay? So you're Kyle Wright, and you're given the stats, and you're looking at a guy who likes the sinker versus the four-seam. You have a four-seam fastball, but you have started to make your way and success with that two-seam. You got to place it better.
I feel like sometimes you want to take your headset off. Doesn't matter what teams, doesn't matter who's on the mound, and you just want to yell out to the mound, just pitch.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because the cat and mouse game that I loved and they got to learn, it didn't come early. These guys are rookies, and it's going to take some seasoning to be able to allow them to understand what their identity is. They're right now listening to anything that's being thrown at them and trying to adjust.
And that is one of the reasons why this kid in particular, who's got off the chart stuff, can throw 5 pitches, has been swimming a bit, and
right.
He had to get sent out to kind of find himself and know that his stuff is good enough and he belongs in the big leagues.
That's exactly right. And for any pitcher, if you can break it down to know which side of the plate you're good at, which side of the plate you dominate on.
That is ball 4, and that's got Wright yelling at himself. 2 doubles, a single, now a walk. Remember, all this started on that bang-bang play at first that was overturned on replay. And the Dodger offense may have indeed carried over from what happened over the last 3 innings here last night. That was Dave Roberts' belief when we talked to him before the game, and he thought his clubhouse had a real good feel to it, a good attitude, even down 2-0 as we're going to get a visit here from Rick Krenitz to the young right-hander Kyle Wright. So while they talk, we will remind you, answer 6 questions about tonight's matchup between the Braves and the Dodgers, and you could win $25,000. It's super easy and free to play, so download the Fox Bet Super 6 app. There's still time to get your picks in for tonight's game. Well, how big is this inning going to be? Right now, that's up to Kyle Wright and Jock Peterson.
Got to get a slider going. That's the money pitch that he has been able to nail on the inner part of the plate against lefties, and of course away to righties. So that same glove side, we call it glove side, arm side. That's what you're trying to figure out as a pitcher. Who's an arm side pitcher where it's nice and easy and fluid and it controls that side of the plate, or if you're a glove side, meaning the arm of the glove is on, that's the direction you want to be more successful. And the elite pitchers obviously learn how to do both, but identifying one is a key early in your career.
1 ball, 1 strike on Peterson, who hit 190 during the regular season. 7 homers, 16 RBIs, 1 for 3 in this series. Rides up and away.
Can't tell you how many times in my career I was told you got to pitch inside more. You got to pitch inside more. Well, I wasn't very good at it, and so I do something I'm not good at. I learned to master the pitch away, and I would occasionally throw in to keep them honest. If I was forced to do something that I was not good at, then all of a sudden I lose what I think is one of my assets, and that's what happens a lot in baseball. They tell you what you should do, and not everybody can do it.
Here's a shot into left center field. Back at the wall. It's gone. What a start for the Dodgers. Jock Peterson goes deep. And it's a 5-run first inning, thanks now to a 3-run shot by Peterson.
Well, this is what Jock Peterson can do. He's not going to hit 250 or even 220 sometimes, but he is a home run machine in the postseason. And that is what the Dodgers needed.
All of this starting on that close play at first. Here is a shot to center by Rios. Back at the wall. That is gone. Wow. 6-0. Dodgers on top. And have they been waiting for this type of outburst?
By the way, that young man, I know it's a small sample size, highest home run rate in the history of baseball at the baseball. In his career, he has incredible power. People talk about it. I mean, he just displayed it right there.
Obviously, these guys talked. Grant Brown, the Dodgers in general, the hitters meeting, after being passive, patient, trying to get the pitch count up. These guys have gone up there ready to swing. And it started with the first couple of hitters. 2 pitches, and the Dodgers had a run on a single, infield single by Betts, an RBI double by Seager. And now Rios just jumped on the first pitch and hit it out to straightaway center field. It's 6-0 Dodgers.
Well, you know, look, it's not as easy as just saying, why can't everybody take a 9th inning approach to the first inning and the 2nd inning and the 3rd inning? You know, hitting, I said it yesterday, hitting is contagious when a couple things turn around. Pitching is contagious when a couple things turn around. And I honestly think the best thing for the Los Angeles Dodgers today was being the visitors.
I almost said that it's easy to say now. I almost said that last night.
Yeah.
They have the big last 3 innings, certainly the big 9th, and they were going to bat first here in Game 3 as the road team. Opportunity, and they took advantage of it as the count evens on the number 9 hitter Chris Taylor. 2-2.
You see that sinker was flat, and when it's flat and up, the hitter can do that.
Rios was just re-added to the active roster after a groin injury slowed him in the division series. He's now 1 for 4 this postseason, but a guy who, as a 26-year-old, has hit 95 home runs in the minor leagues over 5 years. He's got a lot of power. And my gosh, he just showed it to straightaway center. Here's a 3-2. That is a walk. And with Betts coming up, that's going to be it for the starter, Kyle Wright. He cannot get out of the first. And
for that 25-year-old who had really found himself and his good stuff. He exits here without getting 3 outs. Mookie Betts got it started with his legs and then came flying around on the RBI double by Corey Seager. And then the home run. Jock Peterson, a 3-run shot. Edwin Rios, a solo blast. What a start for the Dodgers here in Game 3. Well, already a pitching change as Grant Dayton takes over. There's so much to talk about as Betts, who started this with an infield hit, originally called out. That call was overturned, and that started the trouble for Kyle Wright, who can't get through 1 inning tonight, goes 2/3. He's allowed 6 runs on 5 hits, walked a couple, no strikeouts. That's outside. The count 2-0 from the lefty. You asked manager Brian Snitker, who do you want to get into the game tonight? His answer was Grant Dayton. He wasn't thinking about the first inning.
No, he wasn't thinking about the first, but now we got to eat up a lot of innings out of the bullpen. And
Let the ball up.
worst case scenario, obviously, for the Atlanta Braves, even if they lose this game, if they could have got some innings out of Kyle Wright, that would have helped. And, you know, the young man feels shell-shocked right now because it's like, what just happened? You go into a game and your worst nightmare is 2 pitches and a run, and you're searching for that 3rd out. You can never make it.
See the pitch count for the young right-hander. He's got great stuff, and future's so bright for Kyle Wright. There's no doubt about that. But Ian Anderson didn't allow a run over his long first inning last night. The same can be said about Max Fried back in Game 1. That is inside, and Dayton has come on to issue a walk to Mookie Betts. You have to just wonder what the first inning would have been like if this call had stood. We both agreed that Betts definitely beat the throw on just a heck of a play on both ends. But on the very next pitch, an RBI double by Corey Seager, and the Dodgers were off and running.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, until you've been through it, there's no better feeling than to get 3 outs and go sit down, right? Your nightmare for a pitcher is you don't make it out of the first inning.
Here's one into center field. It's going to drop for a base hit. They bring the runner Taylor around. He scores. Over to third is Betts. The inning continues. It's 7-0 Dodgers here in the first. The most first inning runs the Dodgers have scored in their long postseason history.
Well, you know, they had a hitters meeting, and that was a good pitch, by the way, outside the plate. He hits it off the end of the bat, and the Dodgers, with this outfield and their speed, are going to be super aggressive.
Corey Seager is blistering hot. Runners on at first and third, and now a run will score as that gets away from d'Arnaud, and going all the way to third as d'Arnaud didn't find the ball. I think d'Arnaud is claiming that hit Turner. That's why d'Arnaud really didn't go flying after that ball that got behind him. Let's see.
Yeah, he put his leg. He deliberately did it.
And Brian Snitker is going to come out. Watch the right foot. It's like he
did it on
kicked
purpose.
One. Yeah, through the 5-hole. So d'Arnaud, I mean, he knew it immediately. Obviously, he's right there, but I was watching him go after that. Like, why is there no sense of urgency?
Yeah.
Well, he knew that Justin Turner kicked it.
Turner played it off okay.
Yeah.
And, you know, the intent is you have to make an intent, right, to kind of get out of the way of the ball. And it almost looked like the intent was to get hit by that ball. They're going to give him a hit batsman.
We've already seen one instance,
and
Brian Snitker's going to come out. There's already been an instance in this postseason in the Cubs-Marlins series where I believe it was Wilson Contreras intentionally got his arm in the way, and he was not awarded first base, even though he was hit by the pitch. And in this case, I think Brian Snitker's saying, come on, I mean, he's kicking at the ball. You're going to give him first base? And he loses the argument. The bases are loaded. And the batter is Max Muncy with 2 out here in the first inning.
Well, it temporarily saves a run, but I know what Brian Snitker was trying to say is, don't you have to try to get out of the way a little bit?
All right, here's Muncy, and this is a good block by d'Arnaud.
Now, if you're going to have an inning like this, you want to be up 2 games to none and not in an elimination game, which happened to the Braves against the Cardinals, which left that sour taste.
Here's a 1-0, and that's outside from Dayton. The count's gone to 2-0 on Max Muncy. It's already 7-0 as Muncy takes, and that catches the outside corner from Dayton. The count 2-1.
You can see Dayton. He's got kind of a long arm action and really good break on the curveball.
The next is in the dirt, and d'Arnaud has had to flop all over the place, and the count goes to 3-1.
But he hasn't been able to find his release point since coming into the game, and that's going to have to be found quickly. Again, you don't ever anticipate. I mean, relievers are supposed to be on call at any time, right? And you just never anticipate the first inning is going to be one of those calls. Not saying he's not ready. It's just you got to get right quick.
There's a strike, and now the count is full. This, by the way, is the anniversary of Reggie Jackson back in 1978, Game 4, sticking his hip out going between first and second base, as we just saw.
Yeah.
Justin Turner kick one through the 5-hole with d'Arnaud. Here's a fly ball into right center field, back at the wall. It is gone. Grand slam, and the first inning is historic. 11 runs on the board for the Dodgers as they are just dropping bombs here in the first inning on the Atlanta Braves.
Well, the easy answer is going to be it carried over from the ninth inning. That is history.
I mean, that was just a guess. I was kind of just guessing it was in the first inning, but how about most runs in any inning in postseason history? And wow. That is the third home run of the inning. The fifth extra base hit. 1 ball, 1 strike is the count on Will Smith, who delivered a long time ago a 2-out RBI double that scored Corey Seager with a second run of the inning. Muncy now with 2 home runs over his last 3 plate appearances. This one is slicing foul down the right field line. Here's the last one, the slam by Muncy.
Up again. There hasn't been this many mistakes in 2 games by the Braves pitchers, and the Dodgers have absolutely not missed any of them tonight. They've been pitched extremely well those first 2 games, with the exception of those last couple innings. And right now, they're showing what they can do offensively.
They were the #1 MLB team during the truncated season in 2020 in runs. The #1 MLB team in home runs in 2020. The #1 seed in the NL, up off the deck, up 11. Okay, 11-0 after a half inning. And Julio Urias is on the mound. Most in any inning in postseason history for one side. 14 plate appearances, the 7 hits, 11 runs. That gets the record. 3 home runs, one of them a grand slam by that guy, Max Muncy. 3 walks, a hit batsman, 32 minutes long. We're still in the first inning, and Ronald Acuna Jr.
Get the ball out, guys.
Takes ball 1 outside from Julio Urias.
So there's a couple challenges when you're faced with a 11-0 deficit. Of course, Urias wants to get in rhythm, and that's a long time off between his warm-up pitches. The Braves want to have quality at bats and grind out as much as they can, but 11-0 is 11-0. You're not going to tell yourself, hey, 2 runs each inning. You know, you just try to grind out professional at bats and get to the end of the game and see what happens. That's a challenge mentally for both parties.
I mean, you can't give up on a game.
No, they're not giving up on a game. It's just,
I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
I'm just, there's so many things at play here in not just a postseason series, but in one where you're playing every day.
Correct.
Where if you're the Atlanta Braves, you lead 2-0. You don't know who your starter really is going to be tomorrow. You don't really have a starter for the next game. So, you know, it makes you think of the line by longtime scout and manager, Atlanta Braves scout Jim Fregosi. He said you got to learn how to lose.
Yeah.
And if the Braves almost could call timeout and go, okay, see you tomorrow, they might entertain it.
Yeah,
but now you got to piece together 8 more innings with your bullpen, or just have somebody take a ton of punishment.
Right.
Because you got to get through the next couple of games.
And then that's why I said the mental gymnastics in a series is exactly that, right? The Braves were up 2-0. It's the heavy favored Dodgers. You convince yourself of things and don't try to listen to the other things. The Braves, unless they pull off a miracle, have to remind themselves after this game, we're still up. But to your point, then it becomes, okay, how fast does things swing when you look on the other side and you got Kershaw, and then you got Dustin May, and then you got Buehler. So the Braves did what they had to do, and this game forward is all about grinding out at bats, staying fresh, and trying to turn your brain off.
By the way, Acuna is at the plate. He is leading it off, and the count is full. The other side of it is Urias has been such a valuable part of this bullpen so far this postseason, backing up starters. You know, you don't want to wear him out in a game where you really don't need his best stuff. I mean, you can't give up on the game. There's no doubt about that. But both sides are looking at this in a real interesting way as Acuna Jr. draws a leadoff walk, and here we go. In the bottom of the first inning, we need to give you the rest of the lineup for the Atlanta Braves. And after Acuna, it's Freddie Freeman. Great to see him healthy and ready to go after getting drilled last night. Marcell Ozuna in the middle. Darno, Albies, Swanson, Riley, Camargo gets the first start this postseason for him. And then the number 9 hitter is Christian Pache.
Ball down.
And that is 96, but low. Ball 1 to Freeman.
Well, not for nothing, but the coaching staff and the manager has such a tough task when a game gets like this mentally, right? Like, no, we got to win the game. you'd be tempted to do some things.
Got the ball out.
To your point, okay, Urias, it's 14-0 after 3. That's good. We'll go with the rest of the. There's so many things that you have to think about. And when we played the St. Louis Cardinals in Game 5, down 3-1, it was 12-0 after 6. And I was asking my manager at the time, Bobby Cox, get me out. I can help you in Game 7.
Right.
And the thought was, so we got to win this game. I said, it's 12-0. But just seeing last night gives you an indicator of how quick things can turn when you think, okay, this game's going our way. We're going to win this game. And they were 1 out away from tying a game that were down 7-0. The Dodgers.
In the 7th.
7.
So it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility. But because we're at the end of this never before experienced 60-game season, with a postseason series now that is the best of 7, with potentially 7 straight days of games with no off days, with no weather issues because we're in a stadium with a retractable roof. There are elements at play here that haven't ever been there. That's fouled away, and the count stays 2-2 on Freeman.
Yeah, you're right. I mean,
how many times have we done a postseason series where you get a rain out and the next night we're talking about who that rain out benefits? That's not going to happen here.
No, it's not.
Unless that roof gets stuck. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Freeman. Count is full now as that drops low. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
But everybody who's sitting at home thinks, okay, how hard could it be to pitch with 11-0 lead? Well, I'm just telling you. You know it's 11-0. You sat for 30 minutes. I mean, he's not going to give up 11 runs, chances are, in the first inning. But you have to tell yourself, don't pay attention to the score. I'm facing Freddie Freeman. Then I'm facing Ozuna. It's more difficult than it seems.
Urias has to throw a strike. He's walked the first 2. Let's look at the defense for the Dodgers, sponsored by AT&T Business. They haven't been put to work yet with 2 walks. Peterson, Bellinger, and Betts in the outfield. Around the infield, Rios, Seager, Taylor, and Muncy. The catcher is Will Smith, a big part of the outburst in the top of the inning, and Julio Urias, who is 2-0 this postseason. He's thrown 8 innings so far, no earned runs, 4 hits, 11 strikeouts, 1 walk. Has walked the first 2 with an 11-0 first inning lead.
Well, the roof is open and the wind is howling. And those are big flags you're looking at. And so the wind's blowing out that way. So, yeah, it might be a factor. We've seen some balls absolutely jump out of this ballpark that we hadn't seen in a while. So the wind blowing out to right field. This could be a football score. Who knows?
There's a strike.
Oh,
But just to put a bow on it, I've been told this when I've had a big lead. Hey, pitch like it's 1-0. I'm like, I know he could see the scoreboard. It's not 1-0.
Well, the Braves want to get on the board here in the first inning. Back-to-back walks to start the frame, and now the count 0-2 on Marcell Ozuna, who's 2 for 9 in this LCS with 1 RBI. There have been 29,786 half innings in postseason history, and that's the most runs ever scored in a half inning. It's a lot of half innings.
Well, the Braves would like to check in with a few this half.
Absolutely. Still 0-2 on Ozuna.
Well, what makes Urias so good as a left-handed pitcher is the ball comes out of his hand smooth. It's a fastball, curveball combination. For the most part, those are his 2 favorite pitches. He'll throw that changeup and occasional slider, but the curveball has late break to it. So you see it, and then it takes a turn when he's throwing it right.
Runners at first and second, nobody out, and that's down and in for ball 1. Well, he's still just 24 years old. Came up to the big leagues, Urias, as a 19-year-old in 2016. He's pitching already in his 15th postseason game.
That's amazing.
Only his second start, and he strikes out Ozuna, looking over the inside corner, 1 away.
Well, that's the changeup. That changeup started in, but then faded over the middle part of the plate. Throws Ozuna.
So Ozuna is retired, and Travis d'Arnaud steps to the plate. Travis 1 for 7 with 1 RBI. That came on a bases loaded walk last night in game 2. Strike 1. One other note on Urias. 4-2 record overall over all these postseason appearances. That other start, he lost to the Cubs in the NLCS in 2016 as a 20-year-old. Youngest starting pitcher in MLB postseason history. Went 3 2/3, lost game 4. That is a strike for strike 2. 0-2 on d'Arnaud. Cunha walked. Freeman walked. Ozuna struck out looking, and d'Arnaud waits for the 0-2. Out over the plate at 96. Opponents hit just 184 this season, regular and post, off the fastball of Urias. Great stuff. And he is just starting to figure it out. Hoping to hand the baton, if you heard Kenny Rosenthal, the pregame show, to Clayton Kershaw for game 4 tomorrow. That's the plan.
Good ball.
That's down. And the only wrench in that plan would be thrown by Clayton if he wakes up and doesn't feel good. Threw yesterday, obviously moved around today, and if he wakes up and feels okay, he'll go tomorrow. The Dodgers tell us in game 4. d'Arnaud waits with 2 on 1 out and takes low again. 2-2.
Seeing this game reminds me of good friend and ex-teammate Charlie Lebrand. Came over. He's a veteran pitcher. We're young and pitching a lot of tough games, you know, and you're not getting runs. He just looked at me and said, "You're just not a smart pitcher." Like, what do you mean? He goes, "You got to know when to pitch. You got to pitch when they score runs." So he'd say today you're a smart pitcher if you're on the hill because you knew they were going to get you runs.
Yeah, Urias figured it out. Here's his next, and a little floater for out number 2. Caught by Muncy. 2 on 2 out. Our player resume is sponsored by Indeed. Ozzie Albies will step in, and in this series against the Dodgers, look at that bottom line. First player in MLB history with 9th inning home run in consecutive postseason games. And history all over the place. Trying to rescue this inning and make something of the back-to-back walks to start this first.
Yeah, I really thought there for a second that was a play where Muncy could have let drop and turned an easy too, because that's not high enough for an infield fly. He could have just played it back, but he went ahead and made the catch.
I'm still waiting for somebody to drop one intentionally when the infield fly rule is in effect.
And see what happens to the runners.
See the runners just freak out and go, "What do I do?"
It could happen. I've seen it.
Here's a high fly ball into left center field. Bellinger back on the move. He is there to end the inning. And I think the Dodgers are having fun tonight. Bellinger back to grab it. A leap, a catch. And the first inning is in the books. Elam Park. The Dodgers bat in the second after an 11-run first on the power of 7 hits, 3 walks, and a hit batsman that comes with an asterisk. It preceded the grand slam by Muncy. That's outside. 2-0 from Grant Dayton, the left-hander, who figures to be the first of at least a few to come out of that pen for the Braves.
Yeah, the judgment call right on the hit batsman, and the problem is, don't think replay can overturn a judgment call and turn it around into what would be perceived as an intent to get out of the way. So in that case, that's the only thing that could have been called.
Here's one into right, back at the wall. It is gone off the bat of Bellinger. Home run number 4 on the night for the Dodgers, and Bellinger is finding that stroke. Shades of what happened in the division series against San Diego. Although in that game he went up to rob a home run, went deep in the division series game 2. That is Tatis Jr. And this easily would have left the park. And here's tonight. Bellinger had homered in that game. This one, not sure. I don't believe it would have gone out. But then he steps to the plate here in the second and parks one into the seats in right. And it's 12-0.
Well, let me tell you something. That catch he made tonight, he was playing really shallow, and he got back quickly, and as he made his jump, the jump carried him into the wall. Either way, this is a elite defender that most of the time you used to see him at first. Now you see him in the outfield dominating.
2 strikes on Jock Peterson, who hit a 3-run home run into left center field last inning. Then Rios went after the first pitch, homered to center. And a walk to Taylor. Kyle Wright was finished. And a walk to Betts. Seager an RBI single. Turner hit by the pitch. And then a grand slam by Muncy. 1-2 now on Peterson.
So was it 9 runs they got with 2 outs, right? Yeah.
In the first, they got 10 of the 11 were with 2 outs. Right?
Yeah, you're right.
10 of the 11 with 2 outs in the first inning, and a leadoff home run here. The count is even 2-2. All that first inning pitching dominance by the Braves. Different script here tonight as the count stays 2-2 on Peterson. Starting pitching ERA through 7 games for Atlanta, 1.16 into tonight. Second lowest all time, and again it's different in 2020, certainly from 1920, which is when the Cleveland Indians starting pitching was dominant and just a bit better statistically. Out at first as Albies makes the play, and Peterson 1 for 2 on the night. Yeah, away here in the second.
Yeah, I mean, that's the downside for the Braves being up 2-0 and possibly being 2-1 after this game, is the other side starts feeling better and getting hot. Guys start getting on track. That's the carryover effect. You start seeing the ball better, and then the job of getting them out the rest of the series gets a little more interesting.
First pitch is a ball to Edwin Rios.
neutral.
Takes a pitch down and away, 2-0. Home plate umpire tonight, by the way, is Jim Reynolds, the crew chief of this group. Last night it was Dan Iasonia acting as the crew chief. He's at first because Reynolds had the night off before he works the plate here tonight. And a good thing he got his rest. Here is a swinging strike, 2-1 on Rios.
The ball
Outside, and the count 3-1. Number 9 man Taylor on deck. Dayton. Hits the outside corner, full count. It is going to be interesting, as we are just in the second, to see how Brian Snitker handles the rest of this game with a bullpen that's going to be really worked over the next 2 games, because they do not have a starter ready to go. A strikeout as Dayton comes back to get Rios 2 out.
Yeah, I think even Brian Snitker would say a loss is a loss. That's not what's going to bother me if that's exactly what happens. It's how the loss happens, right? To your point. Now, if that's the worst case scenario, minus an injury to your pitcher, he just isn't able to go and pitch long enough, and you can't leave the poor young kid out there just to give you innings. Someone's going to have to give them the innings to get through the end of the game that isn't an impact moving forward. And that's going to be hard. That's the challenge for Brian Snitker. And on the other side, the challenge is going to be for Dave Roberts and the enticing of how long do I leave Urias in with the lead, and how big is the lead that's enough for me to take him out.
Well, it's a dozen now after the home run by Bellinger. Number 9 man is Taylor. First pitch fouled back, and now a fly ball into right center field. Back on the track is Acuna to end the inning. Well, we have seen these Dodgers frustrated through the first 2 games of this LCS, especially Cody Bellinger. He's got Urias pitched around back-to-back walks to start the first. He leads by 12. Second inning, Dansby Swanson first up. Austin Riley, Johan Camargo.
ball down, guys.
Ball 1 from Urias. Swanson 2 for 8 with an RBI in this series, and they're the overall numbers this postseason. He's popped a couple of home runs. That is a strike. Here's a 1-1 from Urias, strike 2. We'll get into a discussion here in the second about how these two sides will try to maneuver through this game 3 with this score being what it is and no off days in these series. That bounces in 2-2.
Well, the Braves are going to need a hero in this loss, and that hero could come in a variety of ways. They got to get 21 or more outs.
2-2 pitch is hit hard left side. Backhanded stop. Seager, a nice play for out number 1. Seager is doing it all right now for the Dodgers. Don't forget to download the Fox Sports Samsung 5G View app for an all-new immersive fan experience available exclusively on 5G-enabled Android devices. All right, 1 out, nobody on. Here is Austin Riley. Homered in game 1, comes up empty here for strike 1 on a 95-mile-per-hour pitch from Urias. Urias has abandoned the windup as he finds another strike. 0-2 to count. We'll hear from both our journalistically sound reporters from down on the field in this inning. Kenny Rosenthal, the plan for tomorrow for the Braves as it stands right now is
Bryce Wilson, who is another young pitcher, 22 years old, total major league experience, 42 2/3 innings, career ERA 5.91. He's pitched in parts of each of the last 3 seasons. He's the guy tomorrow.
It's fouled out of play by Riley. The count remains 1-2. Tom Verducci, why don't you weigh in on what you are witnessing down there?
I'm witnessing, as you are, a postseason unlike any other, because in that first inning, even before the home run by Muncy, the score was 7-0. Pitching coach Rick Kranitz went up to talk to Charlie Culberson.
Here's a ground ball to Seager now to his left. 2 out.
Of course, Culberson is their super utility player, basically alerting him to the possibility, even the likelihood, that he will be needed to pitch in this game. Charlie's done it before. He's had 4 appearances, actually has a 2.7 ERA. But this, as you mentioned, Joe, a product of playing on consecutive days when the Braves cannot count on length of starting pitchers either in game 4 or 5. So Brian Snitker actually, despite this score, has a very difficult game to manage. And if you're wondering if a position player has pitched in a postseason game, yeah, it's happened before. 2015, Cliff Pennington in the ALCS.
Well, it just feels like we're headed toward that here tonight, as Johan Camargo, who stands right on top of the plate, switch hitter, fouls it back, strike 1.
Yeah, the decision, I think, for Snit, too, will be if he had plans on, let's say, Josh Tomlin being the starter for game 5. Well, that would rule him out for this game. If he doesn't have plans for that to be the case, then maybe Tomlin could eat up a good portion of the innings today and help save some of those arms that they're going to need in the next, well, guaranteed the next 2 games after tonight.
Tomlin worked last night when 2/3 of an inning, allowed 3 runs. Could strike out 2, allowed a home run, but 2 balls and a strike. Urias brings it, and that's fouled out of play. Kenny?
Those 2 position players who pitched in postseason games, they entered with big leads in the 9th inning. The first was Cliff Pennington, 2015 ALCS for the Blue Jays, 12-2 with 2 outs in the 9th. The second, Austin Romine, 2018 ALDS, the Yankees versus Red Sox. It was 14-1 in the 9th. I'm not sure the Braves are going to make it to the 9th without getting to a position player on the mound.
I don't think there's, I think the odds are it happens before the 9th inning. And I'm just going to throw this out there too. Kyle Wright, who didn't get through an inning tonight, is at least a stretched out starter. They're looking for starting pitching over the next couple of nights before they go back to the top of their rotation. And Max Fried, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. It may not be likely, but it's at least on the board that Kyle Wright could come back for game 5.
I would think the only scenario that works is if the Braves are up 3-1. I think it'd be very unfair and a tough position to put the young man in if it's 2-2, let's say, in a game 5. But you're right. Physically, he should be able to do that after a short outing.
He only threw 28 pitches.
But it's the mental part.
No doubt.
Would be, without much experience, a veteran guy, if he got roughed up, no doubt could come back and shake that off. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. And that is smoke down the line. It is a foul ball. Wow. I'll tell you what, we're sitting up here on this angle. It was tough to tell.
I thought it looked like it was gone to me.
Yeah, I thought. But that's a good view right there. Just about. That's as close as it gets.
Well, the Braves are saying the same thing, and they called the crew chief, Jim Reynolds, over, but they've got 3 umpires down that line, and all 3 agree that it was foul, and the replay shows that it was.
Yep.
Reynolds to Hoy to Hobart. So another 3-2 pitch. This kid can swing it.
Yeah, you know, he had a really good year a couple years ago, and he got caught in a tough spot, right, where the Braves went out and got Josh Donaldson. He was one of their better runners in scoring position, hitters that year, and can play multiple positions. But then Riley came on the scene, so he's been a little bit in between. Hasn't played a lot lately.
We hit 19 home runs the year you're talking about, 2018. Then the one-year wonder for the Braves was Donaldson. He's moved on to the Twins. Meanwhile, you've got the one-year guy this year on an $18 million deal, Marcell Ozuna, and has he paid off? Came pretty close in the shortened season of taking kind of that triple crown with an asterisk. Urias cannot put Johan Camargo away. Already 11 pitches in this at bat.
But small victories are what the Braves are looking for. And I know that sounds crazy, but make Urias throw as many pitches as he can. Grind out as many at bats. Make the Dodgers have to use resources as well. I guarantee you they're talking about things like that in the dugout.
Here's one down the line again that's going to go foul. Camargo's putting on a show. Braves have not just Culberson, but Pablo Sandoval now, who is on their roster. He's thrown 2 innings in the big leagues. Don't forget about him. Don't sleep on the Panda.
And all I wanted to do was play 1 inning in center field.
I think they could have given me that.
It would have happened. That blew up my shoulders.
That's on the inside corner. Long at bat, and the battle is won by Urias. We go to the 3rd inning, game 3. 12-0. Stopping world. Top of the order for the Dodgers. 12-0 ball game. Inning number 3 of game 3, and a strike is in from the lefty Dayton.
Yeah, you know, you're having a good day when your leadoff hitter gets to bat 3 times, starting in the top of the 3rd.
He singled and scored, walked and scored in the 1st inning. Gets jammed a bit here. Good pitch by Dayton. Pop up for Freeman down the line, and has it in foul territory, 1 away. Let's look ahead. Let's see, game number 4, the Rays and the Astros coming up tonight at 8:30 Eastern on TBS. Then if necessary, they'll continue tomorrow with game 5. Rays are up 3-0, and we'll be back with game 4 of this series between the Dodgers and Braves, starting at 7:30 on Fox and simulcast on FS1. There's a strike to Corey Seager, who's 2 for 2. Has a double, a single, 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored in this game. Had a 3-run homer and an RBI double and a run scored in his last 2 plate appearances last night. And he just touches one off. Wow. In a Dodger lineup that is suddenly absolutely red hot, he is the hottest one.
Well, you won't see Corey Seager get many triples in his career, but this is the part. If he has a chance to hit for the cycle, and will hit for the 3rd inning, and he's knocked out a homer, double, and a single, this is the part that would probably give him his best chance.
You talk about locked in.
mechanically sound. I mean, there's not a lot of wasted movement.
Batter now is Justin Turner. His last 6 plate appearances: walk, 3-run homer, RBI double, RBI single, home run. Hello.
No, that's a ball also.
2-0 count. It's kind of fun listening to the home plate umpire, Dave Reynolds.
What you just said reminded me of, I wondered why the ball was getting bigger. And then it hit me.
It's a line drive into left field. I mean, they are just hanging out line drives. Left, right. This one goes into right and just keeps on flying off the bat of Corey Seager.
I mean, that's just classic. Classic. Get the barrel through. Use your lower half. Strong as an ox.
In the best shape of his life. Already the most home runs in a postseason game in the long franchise history of the Dodgers. Here's Muncy. I thought this ballpark plays small.
No, it has. And that's why we showed the flags, because the ball will go to right field. That seems to be the predominant place where the ball will carry, and there's some pretty good wind that is evident tonight, and you get the ball in the air, not to mention you're hitting missiles off of mistakes. All of a sudden this really big yard just got small.
Well, Dayton is trying to get through his second full inning of work. Good pitch there, fooled Muncy. The count 1-2. But Dayton, has allowed 3 of the 5 home runs hit tonight. The slam by Muncy, who's at the plate now. The home run by Bellinger last inning, and the home run by Seager. These are 3 left-handed batters. Against the lefty Dayton. Count still 1-2.
And that grand slam was allowed to be hit because Turner's hit by foot. Hit by pitch, but yeah.
Even Justin was smiling at first base when he kind of got away with that one.
No, that's a ball.
It is outside, and the count 2-2. And this is when you admire the integrity of a home plate umpire who, when the game is out of hand like this, is still charged with being fair and calling the strike zone as he sees it. Muncy sticks the bat out, hits it into left field, pretty well hit. It fools Riley. Goes over his head. They will hold Turner at third. It's a double the opposite way by Muncy. He's red hot too, with a double tonight, a homer, a 2-run shot in the 9th inning last night.
Well, there's the evidence of the ball carrying, and Riley, of course, coming in to play the outfield from third base, and he just got turned around. You know, when you read the swing live, if you're an outfielder, you're like, I don't know if he hit that very well, but he did. He hit it really well, and it just was a misread in a game where the Dodgers got it going for obvious reasons.
Homered, single, doubled in this inning alone. Here's Will Smith. Fastball in for a strike, and the body language of Grant Dayton tells you all you need to know about his enthusiasm right now.
And you can understand it. Poor guy's trying his best to just get outs and get back in the inning so you can hit and see who else can pitch.
That's the ball, guys.
1 ball, 1 strike on Smith. Drove home his 5th run of this postseason with a 2-out RBI hustling double in the first inning. And that led to the rest of that damage. 2-1 now.
some point, I would expect, as we look at these numbers that are just historic. I mean,
we're in the third inning.
It's one of the rarest games you'll ever see at the most important time of each team's postseason quest to get to the World Series. At some point, I got to think Flowers comes in to catch.
I thought I was thinking the same thing. If you think of how the postseason started for d'Arnaud, he had to go 13 innings in the first game.
Yeah, I mean, you can't just empty your bench because you can. You got to protect the integrity of in case something happens. You can't run out of players. You can't run pitchers out there. Although whenever we got into a game like that, I was trying to get somebody thrown out so I could play.
Here's a pop-up right side. That will get out of play. And it's a full count now on Smith as bullpen phone rings for Atlanta. Zenoa. That is a ground ball to short. That is another run. As Turner scores on the ground out by Will Smith. And it's 14-0. Here's his triple. As Cody Bellinger's digging in right now. When the Dodgers were the home team in this. Here's the catch he made in center field on the ball hit by Albies in the first inning, and then Bellinger touched one off, leading off the second.
Let the ball out, guys.
Down and away, ball one. It's in the dirt, 2-0.
We have a perfect view of not only the field, obviously, but the people that walk in from that great left field side to where the entrance of the stadium is.
There's one that may stay in play. Camargo's out of room.
A lot of people were walking in. It's not bad to walk in the top of the first of a game, and I saw him looking at the scoreboard like 4 times. Like, what? And then just the reaction of the people were interesting to look at when they glanced to the scoreboard.
Come on, honey, hurry up. We got to get in there. It's already the third inning. There's a strike. Bellinger didn't agree. I think they're one street off with the home of the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Off within the shadow of this first-year stadium. 2-2 pitch, and another run up the middle. Another hit for Bellinger. In to score is Muncy. And it's 15-0 here in the third inning. It just won't stop.
No, and it's just helping the guys who are struggling, like the Dodgers hitters. A couple guys will really look lost. Well, guess what? They don't look lost now. And they're going to go to bed tonight, regardless of this outcome, no matter what the score is. They're going to go to bed feeling really good about the execution of their game plan today. And that is what the Dodgers have been all year, is a stingy lineup that did not wake up until about game 5 of the playoffs this year. Third game against the Padres.
Peterson almost ends up on the ground after that big swing, strike one.
And didn't wake up for game 2 until about the 7th inning. And from the 7th inning on, what is that? 22 runs to the Braves 8.
Yeah, that's 22 runs over not even 6 innings.
12 extra base hits. So that's the alarm clock, was just a little late. But Dave Roberts did tell us, and I really believed him in the sense that his offense hadn't done what they're capable of. No one thought they were going to throw out 11 in an inning, but they're capable of it, and they showed it all year. And getting this guy back, who's on deck, is a big boost to their offense as well.
Here's a rocket up the middle. And stopping, he thought about it. Bellinger at second on another hit by Jock Peterson. And it's the lefties that Dayton is struggling with. And I think mercifully this is coming to an end. Even with the left-handed hitting Edwin Rios coming up, Brian Snitker is out of the dugout. And Huascar Ynoa is coming into the ball game. Seager. Red hot. Dodgers with a chance for more, leading by 15 in the third. Keep playing ball. Huascar Ynoa.
Got some over-the-top cheese. That's gas. That's a good live fastball.
Put the ball down, guys.
Which he shows there, misses low. The 22-year-old right-hander from the Dominican Republic. There are his numbers. Making his postseason debut, his numbers from the regular season. 9 appearances, 5 starts. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, with good work here tonight as he takes over with 3 runs home in the inning. Comes on with 2 out. Who knows? He could climb the ladder in that bullpen and become more of a force and a factor for Snitker.
Like it or not, postseason exaggerates the last impression, and it can go both ways. You can lose a guy for the series based on 1 appearance or a blow-up appearance. And I always find that's the hardest job of a manager when they get to the postseason. They know the journey of the regular season. Usually it's 162, so you have more evidence of it. But it only takes a couple shocking outings where the manager goes, uh-oh, I may not be able to use that guy again. And even talking with Dave Roberts, that was a question I asked him. I said, your guys, a couple of them had not had the outings you thought. And he said, that was the first thing I talked about him. I gave him a hug. I said, if we're going to go on and win the World Series, we're going to need you. And I'm going to put you back out there in situations to be successful. And the same can be said for Brian Snitker in a crazy game like this. Who he trusts in the next 4 games or so, or whatever it takes.
Count's gone full now on Rios, who has homered and struck out.
And I really thought when we got to this part of the season, unlike a really long season where guys have logged 180 to 190 innings, we might see a few pitchers go on 3 days rest.
That is a rocket. Foul, just foul, down the right field line.
And the reasoning would be because they didn't log but maybe 11, 10, 12 starts, so you don't have that stress of 180, 190 innings. And we've gotten, I don't know, not to go into the whole ordeal, but we've gotten so protective of that rarely happens, and you'd rather give a bullpen game, which is what we're going to see in a couple cases in this series before it's over.
Ynoa trying to end this long top of the 3rd inning now. And he does as he gets a strikeout to get Rios looking. A 3-run 3rd in game 3. Dodgers lead 5th. The Dodgers, look at the last 6 innings of this series. 21 of 39, 22 runs, 12 extra base hits, 5 of them home runs. As Urias misses outside, ball 1 to Pache, the number 9 hitter, the rookie, who is 1 for 6 in this series, 2 for 10 as a big leaguer overall. That is hit in the air down the left field line. It is gone
for a home run. Pache goes deep. And it's 15-1 here in the third. First big league home run for the young outfielder. And part of the future for the Atlanta Braves showing up here in the present.
Well, you know, for him, that's got to feel awesome. And this is a youngster that, again, a lot expected out of him. Once the offense catches the defense, you're talking about another stud position player that the Braves have in their organization.
And they take a selfie. And why not? Just go ahead and do it for the kid. 14-run game, but give him the full treatment. Back to the top of the order, and Acuna. We have seen 14 home runs in this LCS, and none off the Hit It Here banner just over the wall in left field. I mean, it is, and it's wide. I mean, that's not like some little bullseye you have to hit.
The tarp?
The tarp.
Really?
If you hit, look at this. That, it's covering two sections out there in the power alley in left center field. Every time a batter hits a home run that directly hits that sign, a fan will win a new RV from Camping World. Come on, we got to give away an RV. Acuna grounds out. For rules and how to enter, visit campingworld.com/NLCS. Come on, race to your computer, your phone, some smart device, and get in on it now. You may have an RV in your garage before the end of the night.
You see the replay of the home runs. Is there analytics behind where they place that based on, you know?
There's analytics on what you ate before tonight's game.
And by the way, I'm just going to be, the last 12 days have not been good. I have regressed. It's time to start getting disciplined again.
No. With games every night, there's no chance.
I know.
One out, nobody on. A run is home. We've got a box in the back of the booth that is filled with more junk food.
I know, and I circle it like 5 times like a shark before I go in.
Yeah, and then you go in.
I go in. I dive in.
Yeah. It's big enough. 1 ball, 1 strike on Freddie Freeman. I thought with the way he was hit last night, I know he had surgery at the end of last season on that right elbow, and when he went down to first base, that arm was just hanging there for a long time.
Yeah, he just didn't have any feeling in his hands, and it takes a while. It really does take a while when you get hit in that perfect spot.
And I think he's fine. Hangs out another line drive as he shoots one into center field. He's on with 1 out here in the 3rd inning off Urias. So junk food aside, there is the Hall of Famer John Smoltz, and man, we are wading into territory that has never been seen. In fact, 16 runs is the National League postseason record for runs in a game. It's been done twice on the NL side, both times in the World Series. Here we are in the NLCS, and the Dodgers have put up 15, and we're only in the 3rd inning.
Yeah, this is a crazy game, and then you know, obviously they always say you stay long enough, you're going to see something you've never seen before. But you go into your prep work, you're ready for a well-pitched game or whatever the dynamics that play out, and in a, well, did you say 33 minutes? That was all gone.
Sure, that's what I said.
First half of the inning, something.
Yeah, I think that was right. Good recall. Ozuna fouls one back. Marcel struck out his first time. Count here, 1 ball, 1 strike. Pache has gone deep. There are 2 of the franchise postseason records that have been broken already tonight for the Dodgers. Strike 2 now on Ozuna. Dodgers, by the way, during this shortened season went 43-17. They are the #1 seed, if you want to look at it that way, across all of baseball with that record. Best in the game over 60 games. They never lost 3 games in a row. They lost the first 2 games of this series. They needed to win tonight to avoid their first 3-game losing streak and, for all intents and purposes, be up against it and trying to duplicate what the 04 Red Sox did, down 3-0 to come back and win if they want to make it back to the World Series. And they have gone about their business in historic fashion.
Yeah, you can have all the meetings you want and you can go over what are the things you need to do, but you got to go actually do something that fires up your club, that gets, again, just everybody hopping. And of course the first inning did that.
Another strikeout of Ozuna as he is fooled by Urias.
And this game is filled with guys who are confident and then lose their confidence. It is never a game. As you watch that great changeup, it's never a game where you're confident all the time, but the goal in it is to fake it when you're not, right? Act like on the mound you've never given up a hit when you don't feel like you can throw your slider or your curveball. And I think the fact that you get to the postseason and it's so magnified, these things help when you get confident and the timing is at the right time.
Well, Travis d'Arnaud gets to watch the rest of this with the rest of us as Tyler Flowers comes off the bench to give him a break behind the plate. For Flowers, the Rockets one just foul down the left field line. This is his first at bat, his second game that he's been involved in so far in this postseason.
Yeah, and he traditionally likes hitting off of right-handers versus lefties. He's one of those reverse split guys they talk about, where his success factor is better off of right-handed pitchers. But he's going to spell d'Arnaud the rest of the game and hoping to check in with a few hits of his own.
That's upstairs, 2 balls and a strike. Flowers has made each of Atlanta's 3 postseason rosters this season. He's been there as the backup to d'Arnaud, who's just grabbed that position by the throat at the end of a career year, average-wise, .321. He waits and now hits one to third. Across the diamond, high but out, and the inning is over. Atlanta gets on the board, and they are happy to see their kid outfielder, Christian Pache, park one down the left field line. 15-1 after 3. Pablo Sandoval is in the ball game for Freddie Freeman. He is at first base. And on the mound is Huáscar Ynoa. Freeman will end his night reaching base in his 2 plate appearances with a walk and a single. Big swing and a miss by the #9 hitter Chris Taylor, who is 0 for 1 with a walk and a run scored.
I would expect Dave Roberts to do the same thing later in the game when he feels maybe when all of his guys have gotten 5 at bats. Mookie Betts going to have his 4th at bat in the 4th inning.
And like you said, the only thing you have to guard against is somebody getting hurt.
Yeah.
And you have guys playing out of position, and it becomes a little dicey. Taylor trying to get on in front of Betts. Strikeout to start this 4th inning. And this kid Ynoa has faced 2 and struck out 2. Back in the 1st inning, we'll give you StatCast powered by Google Cloud, and the trip from first to the plate from Mookie Betts. Just flying. And once a left fielder, Austin Riley, fell down after cutting it off before the ball got to the wall. Betts scored easily without a play.
He can do it all. Defender, throw, run, hit.
Late on the 97-mile-per-hour pitch. Strike one. Tom?
Mookie Betts last night go from first to third. We saw him today first to home, also first to third. He has not been thrown out advancing to second or third the entire season. And when you look at the pure sprint speed of Mookie Betts, it's not elite. I mean, it's very good, but tied for 58th with A.J. Pollock. But the way he cuts the bases and the jumps that he gets makes him one of the best base runners. And guys, I got to share this, because my favorite part of the game last night, Mookie Betts was on third base, bases loaded, 2 outs. And he was getting the attention of the on-deck batter, Cody Bellinger, to make sure that Bellinger got in position to tell him which side of the plate to slide. It took a while for Cody to figure out what he wanted, but as Dave Roberts said, he is always present, Mookie Betts.
You just read my mind with that last bit of information. When we talked to Dave Roberts, who has been in the game for a long time, he said, I'm learning from Mookie Betts. And he used that line. He is always present, out in the outfield, on the bench, in hitters' meetings, on the bases, obviously in the batter's box. And with him beating that play at first, it started that huge first inning here, an 11-run first inning. That's shot foul.
Yeah, and he's had influence all throughout this club, even with Edwin Rios. He contributes his ability to get a little bit better defensively at third base after seeing the $300 million player working at his craft, taking extra throws, taking extra defensive work. And obviously that is going to translate to a young player to go, wait a minute, if he's doing that, I can do a little more, and certainly has influence throughout the entire club with his work ethic.
He's just one of those guys you don't ever have to worry about taking his foot off the gas pedal.
Right.
And, you know, at this level, with that kind of money in a 12-year deal, not even a concern. I mean, there's a lot of players in that category, but this is a superstar who 2 days before this series started was out in the outfield taking balls off the wall, throwing to every base, and working on fundamentals. Goes the other way, and Sandoval gloves, goes to the bag. And Huascar Ynoa has restored a little bit of order here for the Atlanta Braves. Corey Seager will step in. What a night. What a little run he has had. And you look at the game summary, and Seager in that #2 spot has gone RBI double, run scored, RBI single, run scored, home run.
And I gotta believe if he stays in the game the whole time, this will be the most opportunities anybody's ever had to hit the cycle. It's like he's in the 4th inning. Has anyone ever done it in 4 innings? I say no.
No, that's a ball, guys.
I'm going to say no with you. Double, single, homer. The spacious outfield.
No, that's a ball.
Outside, 2-1.
He's tracking, and when you're tracking, you're locked in.
That's into center. He will have more chances to be the second player in postseason history to hit for the cycle. Retired for the first time tonight. Good work by Ynoa. 15-1 after 3.5. Changes. Kike Hernandez coming into the ball game. He takes the spot vacated by Mookie Betts, and then that just moves those other players around, which means changes happen in the outfield with Peterson in right and Taylor out in left and Kike at second. Betts gets the rest of the ball game off. And these two managers will have a chance to use some bench guys and try to get them tuned up too.
Yep. Meanwhile, Mr. Julio Urias is really doing a pretty good job considering the 14-run lead that he has. I'm not getting too sidetracked.
That skips in there. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Ozzie Albies with Dansby Swanson, Austin Riley. The next two in a 15-1 game.
If you're Albies, you're like, where are all the left-handed pitchers? I want to see more of them. He's dominated them.
That rides high at 95, 2-2. That is picked up by the new third baseman Edwin Rios, getting his first start of this LCS. He's homered tonight, makes that play, 1 down.
Well, here's what you're going to be seeing if you're a hitter facing this young star. Fastball, real good delivery, clean mechanics, curveball coming out of the slot, and then you got that changeup. And when he's right, that's the line for the fastball, gets on you quick. And watch out, there's the curveball that breaks and doesn't quite get there. The changeup's firmer than the curveball. All have different responsibilities. Changeup goes away from a right-hander, curveball comes into a righty, and of course the fastball jumps on the righty.
Here's a good pitch into Swanson, inside corner, strike 1. Here are the numbers for Urias, the only runs on the home run by Pache. Swanson. Strike 2.
Just to show you how much has changed, he's throwing a changeup at the average velocity about 15 years ago of everyone's fastball. I mean, it's crazy to think that the average velocity of Major League Baseball pitchers has gone up where it is now. The only unfortunate thing is the key is to keep them healthy, and that's not been something that we've proven the two can coexist so far.
Here is a 1-2 from Urias. A strikeout of Swanson. Strikeout number 4.
There's the breaking ball, and see how it has that late turn, starts in the strike zone a long time, but then ends up down. When they talk about spin rate and all the numbers that come around, that you hear all these whatever revolutions, the spin rate is basically telling you the tightness and the break that's happening that's different from pitcher to pitcher. So on a cutter, it doesn't move much, but if you've got good spin rate on the cutter, it gives the illusion, and it's tougher for the hitter to barrel up that ball. So anytime you've got good spin, either backspin, four seam, that's going to create late life. But on the breaking ball, that's the kind of spin you want. Late, in the zone, and tough to pick up.
That just bends right in for strike 2. And look, there's your resume. A lot of wins, a lot of saves.
Sorry, people, I pushed the wrong button.
You know, people think actually that we put these graphics up.
I know.
Oh, Buck, he put up that graphic. No, I don't. I'm barely keeping my head above water calling play-by-play. There's your buddy, Bobby.
Oh, Bobby.
1-2 on Austin Riley. Hits it in the air to center. Got it down off the end of the bat. Bellinger. Urias has a 1-2-3 fourth inning. That's the second 1-2-3 inning of the night. Fifth inning now. 15-1 LA.
Hi, Bruce.
Oh, Bruce.
Brucey.
Many, many battles. You see that sun up in the sky, son? Yep. Well, if I can see that, I can see Paulson's strikes. Argument over.
What are you going to say to that?
Justin Turner. He's the DH tonight. Max Muncy, Will Smith.
The ball. You good, Tyler?
That skips in there. 1 ball, 1 strike. Oscar Inoa showing that this stage is not too big. Granted, it's a 15, now 14-run game, but he's showing good stuff. Throwing strikes. Giving Brian Snitker exactly what he needs. Just get outs and get out of here and wait until tomorrow in game 4.
Yeah, and that's what the Braves are going to have to start thinking about for the next couple games is how do I mix and match? If you're Brian Snitker, you've got a plan. You're just hoping the plan gives you a chance to execute it, right? Today, didn't work. So the plan gets thrown out the window. Now you just get to the end of the line.
That is a mile high on the infield. 5 guys could catch it. 1 guy does. His name is Pablo Sandoval. The card says we've done October like this before. I say no, we haven't. And that means anything can happen. MLB has you covered on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Here's Muncy. He has hit a grand slam. He has hit a double. He scored 2 runs. He hit a 2-run home run last night.
No, that is out.
And he takes outside ball 1 at 95 from Inoa.
Well, the keys of the game have been delivered about as good as you can for the Dodgers. Get the lead, they did. 11 runs in the first inning. Lefties dominate, they did. 10 for 15 with 5 home runs.
Get the ball in.
That was a good pitch. Called ball 2. The second half of that did not happen.
No, it did not. And again, a little shock to the system when you're young Kyle Wright. You hope you can put it behind you. Nah, easier said than done on the stage that he was in. But he's going to look. If this is what I would say if I was a teammate to Kyle Wright. We cannot win the World Series without you. So what just happened is a fluke. Toss it. Never look at the video ever again. And we have to have you continue what you've been doing for the last 4 games. And that's how you find a way to just, especially a veteran, be able to discount what just happened. Because it's not that easy.
2-2 on Muncy. Full count. Bullpen is quiet on each side. I say that as Urias will go back out there in this lopsided game for the 5th. He will be in line for his 3rd win in 3 appearances this postseason, and he has given these Dodgers big outs and big innings.
Ball 4.
That was close too. And Inoa looks in. Muncy takes a walk on base for the 3rd straight time.
But what we said before this series started, and it could have got a little fishy and it didn't start out great for the Dodgers, is that they have the advantage with 5 starting pitchers. Now you're going to start seeing that be the topic. Everyone talked about how much favorite they were in this series, and then they get shocked by losing the first 2 games, and everyone's going, oh my gosh, what's going on? But then you got to tell the rest of the story. If they can stay away from utilizing their weapons outside of their roles, meaning Dustin May starts a game, Kershaw starts a game, and then they don't have the interruptions that bring in kind of chaos where it's not needed. And that's what this playoff format will do for the Dodgers and why their depth is so good.
And it's not just
starting pitching depth. It's depth in the bullpen. A lot of different guys can fill a lot of different roles. And wonder, you know, with Brusdar, Gratterall, as the games go forward, you would figure he will get more and more of a late inning prominent role. His stuff is electric.
But that's why I ask the questions to each manager that we get a chance to talk to.
That's a strike over the outside corner for a 3-pitch strikeout, and Will Smith goes back to the dugout shaking his head.
When you're given all this information, how much of the balance do you have as we look at this real good tight slider? How much of the balance between what works over 162 but is so different in a 60-game season and is so different in this postseason? That information can't be relied on this year. It could be relied on. It's proven over 162. I understand that. But we've never done this. I mean, it's never happened where you play with no off days all the way through, except when you get to the World Series.
That'll be typical. There'll be no travel, but it'll be Tuesday, Wednesday, games 1 and 2. Off Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If needed, off on Monday, and then Tuesday, Wednesday. 1 ball, 1 strike on Cody Bellinger. So they not only have the versatility up front in their rotation, in the back end with their bullpen, but this roster has been so malleable, so changeable, and pieces that can be moved all over the place. Got into the World Series and come up short in 2017 and 18. Kenny Rosenthal, the job that Andrew Friedman has done, his 6th year in the organization, president of baseball operations. You know, they won the division all those years. There was a great footprint already here. But boy, do they find players that other teams just cannot seem to come up with, no matter what the payroll is.
That's absolutely right, Joe. And the big fear Billy Beane and some of the other low-revenue GMs had early on in the analytical era was that if the Dodgers and Yankees ever got smart, look out. If they ever started looking for undervalued players and doing better in the draft and paying more attention to such things, then they would be in a great position of strength. And that is exactly what Friedman has done here. Their drafts have been much better. Their 2016 draft has been hailed as one of the great drafts in recent memory. It produced Lux and Gonsolin and May, 9 major leaguers in all so far. And then they've also found some guys in different ways, like Chris Taylor, a small trade at the time, and yet he's become an incredibly valuable contributor. So they've got the money to sign a Mookie Betts, and yet they've got the smarts and the development skills and evaluation skills to put the rest of the roster together.
And just to finish with that, how can you sign Mookie Betts in the midst of a pandemic to a 12-year deal at huge money? As you point out, Kenny, they're not on the hook for a lot of long-term money really to anybody else.
No, 0 guaranteed dollars committed beyond 2022. And they also have an $8.5 billion TV deal with Sportsnet LA that goes through 2038. That's 6 years beyond the expiration of Mookie's deal. And another thing, they believe, like we all do, that things eventually will return to normal.
Well, the strikeout ends the inning. Inoa keeps on rolling, and we will roll right into the bottom of the 5th inning. Game 3. One change in the lineup. Just talking about the versatility of this Dodgers roster, and they've shown it a couple of times already in this game as Matt Beatty takes over in left field. First time we've seen him in this LCS. That moves Chris Taylor back to second base, which is where he started, and now Kike Hernandez from second base to shortstop, and that means that Corey Seager is out for the rest of the night, and there will be no hitting for the cycle as the batter is Camargo, and he's in the hole 0-2. Talking about the innings and the outs that Urias has given the Dodgers. He was the winner in game 1 of that wild card series. 4-2 is the final over Milwaukee. Went 3 innings, no runs, 3 hits, 5 strikeouts, no walks. He was the winner in game 3. The
division series against San Diego, the clincher 12-3, but he went 5 innings, no earned runs, 1 hit, 6 strikeouts, 1 walk. I mean, he has been dominant.
He is. And you talk about a guy who had to overcome 2 major injuries. Very young, very versatile, but for my money, could be a lockdown starter for a long time.
2-2 pitch is popped up on the infield. And Hernandez now on the other side of the bag. Takes it in at short, 1 away. The 2020 MLB postseason continues tonight with Game 4 of the ALCS between the Rays and the Astros on TBS. Then, if necessary, they'll continue tomorrow with Game 5. That would mean Houston wins tonight. Otherwise, a sweep, and it's night-night. Then we'll be back with Game 4 of this series between the Dodgers and Braves, starting at 7:30 on Fox. It's tomorrow, simulcast on FS1. Here's Pache, who tried to hold up, could not. Strike 1, with 1 out here in the 5th.
It's been a crazy series with the Astros, much tighter than what the series 3-0 lead for the Rays currently has on the Astros, but uncharacteristically not making the plays, and characteristically the Rays are making all of the plays.
I mean, the defense that they have put on display. Urias, underhands. And Pache is retired 1-3. Here's some of that defense. I mean, you talk about another versatile team. Look at the plays that have been made. Hopefully Kiermaier is able to get back in the lineup after getting hit by a pitch last night. But I mean, everywhere you look, they're making plays. And so the Astros have had opportunities, but they can't find any holes in that defense.
Exactly right. A lot of those plays that we showed didn't show you how much traffic was on the bases, and any one of those drop in, that changes the whole series.
Here's Charlie Culberson into the ballgame to hit for Acuna Jr. And Urias gets strike 1 as Julio tries to get through 5 and be in line for his 3rd win this postseason. Culberson, we at least talked about expecting to maybe get on the mound tonight. Something he's done before in the big leagues. Is 0 for 1 in this series.
Well, that's a ball, guys.
Pinch hit in game 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bullpens are quiet right now. Strike 2.
Power changeup. That is a pitch that is coming back, making a comeback with the style of hitting that is going on. You've got a curveball and a changeup.
That might have been off the glove of Urias. What a play and try by Kike Hernandez, but safe is Culberson. Wow.
Standing play. I thought when he knocked it down, he did the best he could just to knock it down, but he picked it up and threw a one-hop missile over there. Watch this. He leaps, gets it. What a transfer.
I mean, what kind of athletic ability does it take to do this?
That's tremendous flexibility. I just pulled my hip out of socket right there watching that.
Your hip, your shoulder.
Yeah. He did get up trying to stretch out after that one. I mean, that was phenomenal. Here's a ball to Sandoval. Batting for the first time in this game in the number 2 spot where Freeman was.
He had one of the most incredible runs with the San Francisco Giants when it came to postseason and big hits. This guy right here is not only a really good athlete, but he had the ability to hit pitches that most people would never even think about going after. If you threw it right down the middle, you probably get him out. You throw it above the box, below the box, he's going to go and find a way to hit it. At least he did.
The ball.
3-0 the count here. They're starting to stir for the Dodgers. The Braves bullpen is quiet. I would imagine this would be a good night for Dave Roberts to get Pedro Baez back out there on the mound.
I don't know. I don't think so. Only because if you really believe that the leverage situation for Pedro Baez is going to be in the next 3 games, then you'd like to see him do that. I understand in theory, but if he gets in tonight, then he's needed for multiple days in a row.
Okay, well, I think you're wrong.
Could be.
3-1 the count. Now full count. How about Kenley Jansen?
Now that, yes, absolutely. It's tough as a manager because you got a game like this and you don't want the score to indicate what you feel about the guy that's coming in when he's been one of your all-time best. Here's a token opportunity. You don't want that to be conveyed.
Urias might have thrown his last pitch of the night. Over 100 pitches. Oh yeah, just listen. You know the score by now. Urias is finished 101 pitches tonight, and this kid is a star this postseason for the Dodgers. They'll go to 3-0 unless we're here till about 3 a.m. New right fielder is Charlie Culberson. And Jock Peterson leads off against Huascar Ynoa. 1-0 pitch is popped into left. Long run for Camargo. What a play by Camargo.
Wow.
He ran a mile down that left field line and had to reach. Made the catch. 1 out.
I'm just telling you right now. You can't tell.
I would say Dave Roberts and Pete Carroll.
Yeah, that's 2 good illustrations of the personality that we get to see outside, right? We don't get the inside of what goes on, but you feel like he's going to pump you up. He's going to make you feel good. He's going to tell you straight.
Get the ball up.
And so, you know, as a football coach, a little different than a manager, you could see what Pete Carroll does with the energy that he displays, and it's genuine. And I think that's the same thing with Dave Roberts. It's not like, hey, I'm going to put on my happy face. No, he's generally every day motivating his team with that positive attitude.
Full count on Taylor. I mean, he just look over to you as that thing was broken in half and just sinking down into the Atlantic going, we're going to be okay.
Yeah. I guess some other names came to mind as it was sinking.
Well, back in.
Good luck, guys. I'm out of here.
What do you mean? I thought this was a vote for one. Three balls, 2 strikes. Runner at first, Edwin Rios, who has homered and now walked. And the at-bat continues. We're going to show you how far third baseman Johan Camargo ran in a moment here to catch that ball hit by Peterson to start this inning. It wasn't a mile, it just looked like it. It was so far off the line.
Yeah, but just the way that he had to look at the ball running.
That is out number 1, and can't turn them both for the double play. So he was shifted and well off the line. StatCast powered by Google Cloud. Take it away, Johan Camargo.
Yeah, 115 feet, and just this angle. There was a lot of exhales there. Exhale that he caught it. Exhale that neither Riley nor Camargo ran into each other. Braves already lost one left fielder in Adam Duvall.
Here's Kike Hernandez with the runner at first. Taylor, 2 out. Pitch number 58 from Inoa's grounded foul. For Huascar, he pitched in the big leagues with the Braves last year. This year, the most pitches he's thrown in a game, 61. He is fast approaching that. Just the 3rd pitcher after the starter Kyle Wright lasted 2/3, and Grant Dayton allowed 8 runs on 8 hits in 2 innings. Inoa took over in the 3rd. He's held the Dodgers scoreless since his arrival. 2-1 the count here. That's foul.
Well, you know what this potential win does for the Dodgers, besides the obvious of the pressure that they were under? I mean, in theory, it gives Dave Roberts the luxury. Let's just say Clayton Kershaw isn't feeling great tomorrow. He can push him back another day. You would not have that opportunity if you're up down 3-0. Clayton's only going to pitch, it looks like, 1 time this time around, so you want him in the best place you can to help him. And Dustin May is another one of their horses.
Full count here. 2 out in the inning. The runner takes off, and that's ball 4.
Yeah, the young man's getting just a little tired. You could see having to work a little too hard. When your velocity has to be forced, that's when you're just trying to you're getting close to the empty part of your tank.
Call the shots during postseason games and compete for cash prizes with MLB Rally, a new free-to-play game where you can make at-bat predictions in real time. Download MLB Rally app right now. Restrictions apply. See official rules at MLB.com/rally.
Okay, here's your choices: strikeout, reaches base, out, homer.
Right now?
Yep, that's how it plays. You got choice A, B, C, D.
Why are you saying it so fast? Like I have to? Do I have to pick?
Yeah, you got to pick before he hits. I'm giving you a chance of 1 pitch.
Okay.
Out.
He's going to make an out.
Okay, so you choose B.
And nothing personal about that.
No, it's just how you play the game. We're just showing people how to play the game.
Okay. I say he makes an out.
I'm going to say strikeout.
I'm going to say he flies to left.
And if there's points associated with each one of ours, so like a homer would be 600 points, strikeout 350, out 290, and safe on base via walker hit would be 410.
Look at you. You just gave the general viewing public a window into your soul.
Into a starting pitcher who's got 4 days off of thinking about everything you can think about.
Here's a 1-1. And how about hit by pitch?
He reaches base, so that would have been D, whatever.
So he's hit by pitch. We don't just kind of, none of the above. And we will see Austin Barnes come off the bench to bat for Justin Turner.
Austin Barnes catches Clayton Kershaw.
So if Kershaw goes tomorrow, it certainly makes a lot of sense to get him his first at bat of this LCS, with start coming tomorrow if Kershaw is good to go. And it's the DH spot, so you can just stay in that spot, and then they can go to work in Game 4 against Bryce Wilson, who starts for Atlanta. That was the plan coming into this game. As the bases are loaded, there's a strike to Barnes, who is so far 4 for 5 this postseason. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern on FS1 tomorrow night. And Fox simulcast on FS1.
We're on 2 stations tomorrow night
At the same time.
Wow.
That is double your workload. 0-2 on Barnes.
That changes things.
Bring your best suit tomorrow night, John. That's outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes from Inoa. Say it again. Barnes is 4 for 5 this postseason. And by the way, Clayton Kershaw, I know he's had the back spasms. He has pitched outstanding this postseason. That's fouled back. In the regular season, went 6-2, ERA of 2.16. He's 2-0 this postseason. Game 2 in the wild card round, the clinch here against Milwaukee, went 8, struck out 13. No runs on 3 hits. Game 2 of the division series went 6, allowed 3 runs on 6 hits, struck out 2. Dodgers hope to hand him the ball in Game 4. Here's a 1-2 and blocked by Flowers. An LCS lifetime mark of 3-5, while he's gone 11-11 in 34 games. Kershaw, 27 starts for the Dodgers.
Has a chance to be the all-time strikeout leader in postseason history before this postseason's all said and done.
Yes, he does. Wonder who sits in that top spot right now.
Verlander. That's my guess.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Here is a 2-2 and a grounder to third. Camargo, who made that good play, shows off his arm. And Inoa was great. Kenley Jansen's coming into the ballgame. Bottom of the 6th inning. Real time, available only on 5G-enabled Android devices. Bottom of the 6th inning, and the Dodgers' all-time save leader, Kenley Jansen, is into the game. This is not a save situation for Kenley.
Technically, it is.
Well, yeah, but he's not.
The game.
True, fair enough. He would have to pitch 3+ in this case.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. They just are trying to see what they have here for a guy who has 312 career saves for the Dodgers, and then he's added 17 career postseason saves as Ozuna has a 1-1 count, and those saves is the all-time franchise leading mark as well, and 3rd in MLB history for postseason saves, behind Brad Lidge, who had 18, and then just ahead of Brad Lidge is Mariano Rivera, who had 42.
Just a little bit higher. Well, all eyes are going to be on this cutter, because that's really all he throws. Late action to it. And you don't want the downward tilt. What you really want is the side-to-side late tilt, and they've been working on making mechanical adjustments. You know, the velocity goes down a little bit as you get older, but you want the ball to still have late life in the zone from right to left.
That's hammered foul. For Jansen, he's got a couple years left on his deal, and it's been an inconsistency with velocity kind of all over the place here lately. And so, as we said during game 1. His manager Dave Roberts has said, I don't feel the need to proclaim anybody the closer right now. But Kenley has been a huge part of what the Dodgers have done with this 8-year run at the top of the division. Here's a fly ball into left center, and Bellinger has to go a long way. And Ozuna's 0 for 3 tonight. And there's such a great relationship between Kenley Jansen and manager Dave Roberts. Kenley is one of the all-time great guys.
And he understands. Kenley does. It would be hard for a player of his magnitude who has done so much to mope or get upset or find yourself. And Dave Roberts said, look, he wants whatever's best for the team. He understands. We've had dialogue. And you'll know. You will know when his cutter is right.
Here's Tyler Flowers, his second at bat, and he skies one on the infield. Edwin Rios. 2 out. So with this run for the Dodgers at the top of their division, 8 straight divisional titles. These are the only 2 to appear in each of the last 8 Dodger postseasons. Clayton Kershaw, the 3-time Cy Young Award winner and former MVP, and Kenley Jansen, the franchise's all-time saves leader. 2 out, nobody on. Batter is Albies. Strike 1.
And see, here's a perfect example to a guy like Albies. If he's right, Jansen, this ball would bear in and jam Albies all night, meaning the inner half of the plate. He throws it on the inner half and has late cut. They're going to go back door here. Oh, but that ball right there is a little too straight for his liking, for that cutter. See, that doesn't have a lot of movement to it.
He's retired the first 2 in the inning, and Dave Roberts, Mark Pryor would love to see Kenley Jansen just breeze through this 6th. High target, and that one is up and in. 1-2. Talking about most postseason strikeouts with all these added rounds and layers. Number 1 is indeed Verlander with 205. Number 3 is Clayton Kershaw at 189. Here's a 1-2 pitch. Line drive to Max Muncy. Number 2, John Smoltz, 199.
Just get one more. Can you not get one more?
Max Muncy will lead it off in the 7th inning. He's hit a grand slam tonight. One of many smiles for the Dodgers. It's 7th inning now.
Can I make a prediction?
Yes.
Before this series is over, someone's going to hit the Camping World sign.
Okay. I would have more respect for you if you said before the game is over.
Okay, how about by tomorrow?
Okay. Okay. Yeah, narrowing it down is good. How about Huascar Ynoa?
Yeah, this is, again, somebody needed to step up, and they're probably going to lose this game, and he's going to get a lot of way to go, attaboy, thank you, the bullpen, he saved it. Because if he gets through this inning, they only have to cover 2 more.
With 2 bullpen days, it figures coming, really 3 in a row, because the starter tonight, Kyle Wright, didn't get through 1. Dayton, as Muncy grounds to first. Sandoval just won that race. And that's out number 1 here in the top of the 7th inning. right foot of Sandoval on before the left foot of Muncy as red beats blue. With one out, here is Will Smith, who takes a strike. Smith tonight with a 2-out RBI double that made it 2-0 in the first inning. And then the Dodgers would go on to score 9 more. So all but one of the runs in the 11-run first inning came with 2 out. He has another RBI tonight. Those are his first 2 of this LCS. He is 1 for 4 so far. Checks his swing. Charging it, gloving it, throwing it is Camargo. 2 down. Take a look at StatCast Insights powered by Google Cloud. We have seen the Dodgers hit 5 home runs tonight. The longest one, Seager, at 442. Averaging 420 feet over those 5 home runs. 17th in Major League Baseball. There's a stat for everything, averaging 401 feet per home run.
Yeah. Let the ball out.
The important stats in that is that the Dodgers, whatever they averaged for the home runs, hit the most in baseball with 118 and established a franchise record with their 5 tonight. 96 from Inoa, still throwing hard. 1 ball, 1 strike on Bellinger.
As long as you guys agree, we're all good.
That was Flowers who said something to Bellinger. What did he say?
As long as you all agree, we're good.
Home plate umpire Jim Reynolds, and I think it was Bellinger who was nodding, and Flowers.
Bellinger thought it was a ball. If I think it went like Flowers might have said, yeah, I think it's a ball, but it was called a strike. It's 15-1.
So was it Flowers that said it, or was it Jim Reynolds, the home plate umpire?
Jim Reynolds said, or umpire said, as long as you all agree, we're good.
Okay. Well, that was strike 1, and now this is strike 2. 2-2.
He is peppering the low part of the zone, and I'm mistaken. I thought he looked like he was running out of gas last inning, and he is found an extra gear.
As you said during the break, when we saw him go back out there, which was a surprise to all of us, he's going to end up in a loss, being the player of the game. Absolutely. By a mile for the Atlanta Braves by what he is doing, taking the heat off the rest of the pen for that man, Brian Snitker.
Yeah, when you're staring at 15-1 after 3 and you're the manager and you're going, oh my.
That's down, a 2-out walk, and they all agree on that one. 4th walk issued by Inoa, and the batter will be Jack Peterson, who hit an opposite field 3-run home run in that 11-run first inning. Look at those numbers. 4 walks, 4 strikeouts, and no hits, no runs. After taking over in the 3rd inning, he's pitching here in the 7th. And now there is action finally out in the bullpen as Jacob Webb, a right-hander, is getting loose.
That's a ball.
That's a ball, says Jim Reynolds. There's Webb.
Again, just a reminder, every team's been given extra man roster. And so that helps during this abbreviated short season, but unique postseason setup.
The plan was early to go from 30
active. Everybody coming out of this restart and pandemic and everything that went into preparing for this 60-game season, down to 28, and then it was going to go back down to 25. And once they got to 28 and the Marlins went through their issues, the Cardinals went through theirs, they said, no, we're just going to keep it at 28. And so we play with 28-man rosters here in the postseason. And 15 pitchers for each side. Just a 4-man bench for Snitker and Roberts. One and two is the count on Peterson. 2 for 4 tonight, and able to lay off that at 96. This kid's really pitching 2-2.
To each their own in each ball club. I think if you had to pick a loss, this is the kind of loss you just as soon have. The hard ones are the 2-1s, you know, the 1-run loss that you could have won that you come away losing. The Braves at least have set their minds towards tomorrow for the most part.
And because of who you have to use. If you, and now you've talked about that with both managers. The killers, almost as Tony La Russa would say, the double-header losses are when you use your big high leverage arms and then lose, and then you feel the effect of that going forward. There will be no high leverage guys coming into this game. So in essence, it's just kind of like, okay, it's 2-1 after 3 games, and let's pick up in game 4.
Exactly. I mean, there's a tier system and just about everything. And the toughest part of managing in the postseason, especially with this scenario, is when do you push your buttons to go all in, right? To, I don't like the word chase the win because you try to win every single game, but the close game that both of these teams can win because they have such comeback ability. And then the decisions, like yesterday, looked to the casual fan of a Dodgers might go, what's going on? Why these guys? There's a method to it. And that method will play out in the Dodgers' favor to the point we were just making. If they can turn it around and play more prototypical Dodger-type style baseball.
The point where Dave Roberts said it was no small thing for them to mount the rally. Yes, it fell a run short, but they got Melanson in the game for the 2nd straight ball game. That is down toward the corner. Just a seed off the bat of Peterson. They're going to hold the runner. Bellinger at third. It's 1st and 3rd with 2 out. And that is going to be that for Huáscar Ynoa. With Jacob Webb ready to come in, Ynoa will get big congratulations from his teammates and his manager for what he did here tonight.
Nice job, Mel. Great job, Mel.
And you know what he just did? That was putting it all out there. He goes 4 innings, no runs, responsible for the 2-on-1 hit. Did walk 4, struck out 4, hit a batter. He was awesome. 22 years old from the Dominican Republic. Here's Jacob Webb. 2nd game he has worked in this postseason.
Guys.
Misses, ball 2. 2-0 on Edwin Rios.
Kind of a long arm action. He's going to throw you 4-seam fastballs for the most part. Changeups and curveballs. Changeups his 2nd most used pitch in the arsenal, depending on most games. There it is.
Bellinger is carrying on a conversation with somebody in the Braves dugout or Tom Verducci.
I think he's also talking to third base umpire maybe about that check swing he got called on for strike 3.
96
from Jacob Webb, in the count 2-2 now on Rios, who hit a home run on the first pitch he saw in this LCS. Straightaway center field back in that 11-run first. Webb stopped by Flowers. Full count. Runners at the corners with 2 out. Webb trying to make sure that his outing is scoreless, and he does. On the putout 3-1, Rios grounds out. Dodgers have scored 15 and left 8. Lead by 14.
Oh, look what we have here. Joe Buck 1, John Smoltz 0.
Pedro Baez in the ball game tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Here's Dansby Swanson. I was broadcasting postseason games when you were in broadcasting diapers.
You got people. You've got people.
Dansby Swanson 0 for 2. Dave Roberts gets Baez back in there after a rough one last night. And the 0-1 pitch is flied into right. In and now back to the left as Jock Peterson runs it down. 1 down here in the 7th. 1 in 5 kids in the U.S. may not be able to afford to play Little League next season. Every time you text Little League to 313131, T-Mobile will donate $1 to their Little League call-up grant program so our kids can keep playing ball. Stop it.
Rally cap.
Austin Riley is 0 for 2 tonight. That dirt on his uniform is from losing his footing out on the warning track back in the first inning. Among other things, coming in on that ball down the left field line that was caught by Camargo as well when he slid in, and Camargo somehow made the catch and did an Ozzie Smith, Kurt Ford reenactment, those two. One over the top, caught it, 2 avoided colliding.
This young man's going to hit a lot of home runs for the Atlanta Braves if he continues to keep what we call shutting the door of opportunities for the pitchers to get him out, meaning the same type style of pitching. Get a book on everybody, and then when it gets around the league and everyone's attacking you the same way, it's up to the player, the hitter, to make the adjustments. He's doing those things. But a lot of power. He just has that hitterish look like he's going to hit it. To the Camping World, maybe?
Oh. You can even up the tally. 2-2 the count. It's really the only drama left in this.
That's correct.
Can anybody hit the banner in left center field?
And I say you get 2 campers if you actually hit the camper in the banner. I know that's not what the...
You're going to have to pay for it. You can't start giving away RBs. There is a swing and a miss. 2 down. Starts Saturday strong with a battle in the Big 12 as Kansas takes on the hard-hitting Mountaineers of West Virginia. It all starts with a big noon kickoff pregame show at 10 Eastern. All part of Big Noon Saturday on Fox and the Fox Sports app. My buddy Mark Bolger, his sister Meg Bolger, will be watching that one. Proud West Virginia Mountaineers. 2 out, nobody on for Camargo. I like this guy. Switch hitting third baseman with power, and he can move.
Can't tell by his movement at the plate that it's a 14-run game. He is in the hole, 0-2, but not up there giving anything away.
No, and you could understand. I mean, tough spot for this young man. He's been, as Kenny talked about earlier, really not played many games for the Braves, and now is given an opportunity to possibly play a pretty big role moving forward.
No, that's a ball, guys.
And that series of dominoes started to fall when Adam Duvall went down with an oblique strain in the second inning of Game 1. It's meant that Pache has been able to play more. It moved Riley, at least tonight, from third base out to left. And that's given Camargo the chance to swing it. Had a good at bat against Urias back in the second. Hit a couple of balls home run distance, but foul down the left field line, and now he turns around, bats left-handed against Baez, who is better against left-handed hitters.
Mainly because that changeup, he left that one up, but that changeup he can throw, acts like a split, kind of dives away from the left-hander. Baez is getting a little quicker on the mound. You know, historically one of the slower pitchers to work between pitches. I believe someday the pitch clock is going to come into the game, so he'll have to really adjust to that number.
2-2 pitch is strike 3. And a 1-2-3 inning for Baez, right back in there in Game 3 after his struggles in Game 2. They're still smiling. So are Dodger fans. Up 15-1. Big league ballparks for the Rangers in Arlington. First year for this stadium. Gorgeous facility as the first pitch from the right-hander Jacob Webb is in for a strike to Chris Taylor. The number 9 hitter is the only one to not have a hit tonight for the Dodgers, but he has walked and scored a run.
Always seems like that happens. There's always the one guy, or somebody makes 2 outs in an inning.
That was me back in the day. Little League, Legion, high school. That wasn't you. Not with your athletic ability.
I don't think I played many games where this happened.
Basketball when you were a little kid. That's a swing and a miss, 2-2. You always get those lopsided games where either your kid's team can actually get it up to the rim, or your kid's team is the one that can't. 2-2 pitch is fouled away right side. You know Taylor's going, they're not holding me down tonight.
The worst part of what you just said is when the coach on the other side can't recognize that.
Right.
Full court press up
Right.
28.
Come on.
Have a sense.
Have a sense. These kids need to feel good about it. Give them a participation trophy. Here's a 2-2. It's upstairs. Or do you just teach them that life is hard?
Yeah, you can teach them life's hard, but still have a sense.
3 balls, 2 strikes on Chris Taylor. Webb brings it. Taylor is retired. If you've just joined us, well, look what you've missed. An 11-run first inning, most in a single postseason half inning all time. Dodgers put that up. Dodgers left-handed hitters are hitting over 500 in the ballgame with 5 home runs, and I don't read fast enough to get to the last line. It was Julio Urias with his start tonight, 5 innings. He'll go to 3-0 this postseason. Allowed a run on 3 hits, struck out 5, walked 2, threw 101 pitches
Here's Kike Hernandez with one out in the 8th. Drew walk in his only plate appearance so far. That's left side. He's on with his first hit of the night. He homered back in game 1 of this LCS. It's flashback April 8th, 1974. Al Downing of the Dodgers pitching to Hank Aaron, who hits number 715 into the glove of Braves reliever Tom House in Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium. And twice in this LCS, Mark Melanson has been up, getting loose, barely had to move for the home run hit in game 1, and then had to chase down that home run. I think that was Albi's shot last night.
Twice. Both of his.
Both times. Okay. Meanwhile, Dr. Tom House put this up. It's very fun to catch a teammate's home run in the bullpen. Trust me, nobody knows better than Tom House, who was a pitching coach here in Arlington for the Rangers and is a quarterback arm strength guru, or you name it, in the NFL. That is outside. 1 ball, 1 strike on Matt Beatty, who was hit by a pitch in his only plate appearance of this LCS back in the 6th. Oh, boy, he's a magnet. A horse-eyed magnet, that kid, Matt Beatty. It's been hit twice, and I would say did not flinch and didn't move a muscle to get out of the way.
Pretty amazing. I mean, never let him see you sweat, right? Never let him see that it hurt.
He's the toughest man in the world. Look at this. Oh, right off his thigh.
Hey, 1 out. Okay, 1 out.
I got hit once and went down like a, I went down like a fish out of water. I got turned away. It hit me in the kidney, I think. And my teammates didn't even wait to see if I was ever going to get up again. They started laughing immediately in Colorado.
Who hit you?
I think Jamie Wright, when he was pitching for the Rockies, like 95, right in the back. It hurts. I know he didn't show it.
Here's Barnes, his second at bat, 0 for 1. By the way, we're talking about Tom House, who had pitched opening day in Cincinnati when Hank tied Babe Ruth. He led Atlanta with a 1.93 ERA and 11 saves in 74. That's foul. An 8-year career, included stints with the Red Sox, the Mariners, earned a PhD in sports psychology, and is often referred to as the father of modern pitching mechanics.
If I'm not mistaken, he also believed, and this is something I did before I even knew, he ascribed to pitchers throwing the football.
I was just going to say that.
In the offseason, it takes the stress off your elbow and helps with the, conditioning of the shoulder and the arm. And I threw the football my whole career in the offseason.
That is a good tailing pitch from Webb for his second strikeout of the inning. I remember some of you guys, I think, unless I dreamed it, would throw footballs in the outfield.
We ran
during
pass.
That's how during the season.
That's how we ran. We ran pass patterns with Leo Mazzoni, and literally, there wasn't a lot of news stations back then that covered like you have now, and I think CNN did a story, or somebody did a story on it, and it became a That was it from the top down. Couldn't do it anymore.
Wolf Blitzer covered that, I believe.
God damn.
Max Muncy says, come on. It's 15-1.
Right, Max?
Ball one.
Maybe with a thud, that's the only reason. Because the wind wasn't knocked out.
I can add to that Tom House story.
Okay. Feel free. You got all the time in the world.
The glove that he caught that ball with,
Yeah.
was stolen.
What?
Yeah, it was stolen that winter in Venezuela, in the Venezuelan winter ball. And John Holland, who has worked for the Atlanta Braves forever, was the clubhouse guy then, so that's how I got the first-hand.
Are you pinning it on John?
No, this is straight from the.
Yeah, I'm just saying it wasn't on his watch.
No.
I know he's been around that a long time. Great guy.
No, that's a ball.
Hi, John.
So that glove is somewhere and made a lot of money.
Wolf Blitzer did a story on that. Where was it? Venezuela?
Yeah.
Sorry, from Venezuela tonight. Tom House, future doctor. That's on the inside corner, 3-1. Two on, two out. 15-1 game. We have made it to the 8th. You realize all the scoring was done over the first 3 innings of this game.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Have you ever thought about that? Here's fouled back. It's a full count.
I'm chewing on that right now. 15 runs on 15 hits.
The Dodgers got hot in this game, and they've cooled off in this game. They only have 2 hits since the 3rd. Going to get Wolf Blitzer to do a story on it.
Games like this, you talked about being a starting pitcher and having a lot of time on your hands. We would play every 3 innings the area code game. Well, this would have messed it up. Because 11 in the first inning, you know, let's say that was a 4-1-3. You try to find the area code of the city.
That is just outside to load them up.
And that game that the Atlanta Braves played the Marlins, where they were on the opposite side, of course, the 29-run outburst they had against the Marlins, that would have been a fun area code game. Scored on almost every inning.
What is 4-1-3?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm going to let you know in a second.
Okay. Pitching change. Brian Snitker comes out. And out of the ball game is Jacob Webb here in the 8th. And look at these 3 home runs. Jack Peterson, a 3-run shot off an 88-mile-per-hour slider. Then Edwin Rios goes deep on a 95-mile-per-hour fastball. And then Max Muncy off the left-hander. Dayton hits a grand slam off a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. First 2 off Kyle Wright. And I would say the Dodgers were off and running in the first inning at that point.
Yes, they were. To answer your question of where is 413, Springfield, Massachusetts.
Into the ball game is Shane Green. Bases loaded. And he went around. 2 quick strikes on Will Smith.
Shane Green hasn't had much work, but a big part of the Braves in the regular season. So you could call this a nice little hopeful fine tune-up for Brian Snitker, as they'll need him the rest of this series.
Noah, outstanding. Webb showed good stuff. Green brings it.
Mid-90s fastball misses outside. That's ball 1, 1-2. Lead man is Kike Hernandez. He has the only hit of this inning. The next from Green is fouled away. Shane was an all-star last year. Over his first 6 games with Atlanta. He struggled this year, but man, he has been pretty much lights out since. Seeing if he can keep it 15-1. Tailing pitch that does not come back enough, and it's 2-2. 31-year-old right-hander. Inherited 5 runners this season. None of them have scored, and he has inherited 3 here in his first inning of the LCS in the 8th. And he strikes out Will Smith to end the top of the 8th. Not the best day for the Atlanta pitching so far tonight. 15-1, sliding into the bottom of the 8th. 15-1, bottom of the 8th inning. Pache, the number 9 hitter, will start it off against Alex Wood, who deals a strike. Wood worked in last night's game, went an inning and 2/3, a run on 2 hits. In the 8-7 Atlanta win. Here's a line drive caught by Kike Hernandez. Pache has a homer tonight to account for the only Atlanta run. His first big league home run here in the LCS Game 3. And he's 1 for 3, back to the top, and Charlie Culberson walks in.
Well, the Atlanta Braves may not have much to talk about after this game, but what they will talk about as a unit is their offense, of course, going to be tested the next couple games. So they're going to have to get hot. We talked about in the beginning of this game, the Dodgers offense needed to wake up. It did. And now they're lined up with their arms in a position to get back in the series. If they're going to go to the World Series, it's going to be on the arms of Kershaw and Dustin May and Buehler. Well, for the Braves, they don't have that luxury, so their offense is going to have to pick up the slack. And I know that Brian Snitker and the rest of his team and coaching staff will come up with a plan that they hope gives them a 2-game lead after tomorrow night's game.
2-1 now on Culberson. I mean, it's just a jarring shot of Dustin May with that hair, isn't it? It's amazing.
Yeah,
I just have never seen anything like that.
Yeah, I can't really say anything about it.
I don't want to either, but it's just, if you're watching as a national audience member and you haven't seen a lot of Dustin May, Dodger fans have seen that all year, but if you're seeing that for the first time, it's just, it's like looking at the Colossus of Rhodes or one of the wonders of the world, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon.
Either that or the rough at Winged Foot in the U.S. Open.
It's amazing. I mean, it's just amazing.
It's a talented young man. That's all I know.
Yeah, he can. By the way, he's really good.
Yeah.
Here's 1-2 second, and that just in, and that Taylor. That was either catch it with your teeth or let it go into center. Okay, now a quick word from Bacardi.
Break time means it's time for Bacardi Spiced Rum and Cola. Introducing Bacardi Spiced Rum.
Here's the replay.
That ball Super bounce.
And a base hit. Here's Sandoval. Strike one. Pablo just had 2 regular season at bats with Atlanta. They added him late. Here he is in the postseason. Didn't have a great year, but they are digging into a guy they hope maybe comes up with a big hit at some point because he knows how to play when it matters the most in October.
Yeah.
Two and one the count. Sandoval struck out in his only at bat so far tonight. Took over for Freddie Freeman, who walked and singled. A little tardy on that swing on a 92-mile-an-hour fastball, and the count is 2-2. Are Tom and Ken still here? I mean,
We sure are, Joe.
okay, good. Thanks, Ken.
Yeah,
Enjoying your commentary.
We're in the bubble, so we're not allowed to leave. We are in the secure zone.
Good. Well, and we're thankful for that. But chime in with anything you got. Here's a 2-2. Up and away. Taping up the wrist of Ozzie Albies. He missed 4 weeks of the season. Albies, who's been red hot in this LCS coming into this game. You saw him take a ball off the wrist here last night. Sandoval strikes out. Here you go. If you like hair, the Dodgers, they're your team.
Can you let it down? Let it down. Let it down. Get up and let the show
There it is. Huh?
It would have been funnier if a dozen golf balls fell out of there when he was doing it.
2 out in the inning, and the batter is Marcell Ozuna, 0 for 3. I would like to have that just so I could sleep in airports. I mean, it's just gently resting your head.
No, that's a ball.
It's just to go with you at any point. Talk about my pillow. 2-0 pitch. Ozuna takes a strike. For more on the hair of Dustin May, let's go down to Ken Rosenthal. Ken?
I don't have much, Joe,
Okay.
but I admire it as well.
Here's a 2-1.
How can you not? But I have no problem sleeping in airports. I never considered the possibility of getting a Dustin May hairstyle to help sleep.
Fair enough.
I am looking forward to seeing Kershaw tomorrow night.
Yes, and that's what the Dodgers hope. That he wakes up and says he's good to go. That was Kenny's report during our pregame show. Get the hair covered at all angles. This is a bird's eye view.
So, Joe, if you're Dustin May, you go to bed tonight thinking you may or may not be the starting pitcher tomorrow. But depends on when Clayton Kershaw wakes up. But you sleep so well.
You sleep so well. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, they've got this guy, and I know, John, you look at somebody like Dustin May and take the hair out of the equation here for a second. His stuff is electric. Easy triple digits when he wants it, and they, move him all over the place, and he just doesn't know. He told us the other day that, I just go when they tell me to go.
And he's handled it unbelievably because not everybody can do that. But here's the deal, and I hope we can move away from this being the barometer or the gauge. The OPS goes to a certain place when he hits a certain amount of pitches, like by the 5th inning. That's why they don't let him go deep enough. That's why he's a weapon for 2 innings. At some point, you got to let a monster like that work through it and become your horse.
Oh,
and I know we've got the information that tells you, oh, 3rd time through, this is what happens. But it's not because that's the way it's always going to be. It's because they don't get the opportunity to disprove it. And so even if Dustin May pitches as a starter in this series, that's what you're going to see. You're going to see close to the 5th inning, and then he's out. And he's become such a weapon. It's tantalizing to use him in a lot of different ways. But the plus minus at the end of the day for building your future in across baseball, sometimes you lose guys like that, meaning they can't handle the bouncing back and forth. They can't handle not knowing. They like the structure. So the Dodgers just a factory of being able to develop arms, and this is evidence of their roster that we're currently looking at.
It's just loaded. The guy that started tonight, Urias, who's still just 24 years old. You know, Buehler is a young #1 starter. Kershaw is having a resurgence, a renaissance of sorts. We talked to him 2 days ago. He said, yeah, it's hard to quantify what I feel like now compared to other seasons because of the odd 60-game schedule and then this postseason. But yeah, he kind of admitted by the end of talking to him that he does feel stronger than he has the past few postseasons.
What he's also bought into is the information of sequencing his pitches. You'll hear that a lot, the sequence pattern of when to throw a certain pitch or not. And as he's gotten older, you know, the velocity is not going to increase, but his ability to pitch differently as he's gotten older, he said he's adapted to. It's not been easy because any great player has to have some stubbornness in him. And I think that stubbornness is a trait that makes a lot of players reach his level.
Wood gets the strikeout by Ozuna, who has an 0 for 4 night, and we go to the 9th inning. Yeah.
It's usually what they say to me.
You can leave your
play due to COVID-19. That's why Fox Sports and Good Sports are restoring play through donations of brand new sports equipment. Text play to the number on your screen to help keep kids in the game. 9th inning. 14th at bat tonight for Cody Bellinger. Good breaking ball from Green for strike 1. This is the 6th plate appearance for Bellinger. Peterson on deck. And then Edwin Rios. Green slammed the door on the top of the 8th. With a strikeout of Will Smith with the bases loaded. And that is strike number 2 on Cody Bellinger.
What a difference a day makes. He doesn't look like he's on roller skates, taking advantage of pitches. Looks like his timing's been better. And that's all a hitter wants to do is see the ball, hit the ball right, and then get the results. And that'll feel you confident.
1-2.
Feel like when you're going bad, and no matter what position, as a pitcher, you try to rush up velocity. If you don't feel like you have it one day, as a hitter, you use your body too much. You're trying to make it happen by chasing results, and you get away from your mechanics. And then a night like this, you're locked in again. I'll never forget when a certain hitter or two will be 1 for 18 and a manager will say, yeah, I'm going to stay with him. All he needs is a good take or a good walk to reset. Like if he starts taking better, I feel like he's coming out of it. And I never understood it then, and you could start seeing, appreciate it now. It's like, whoa, now you're seeing the ball. If you're seeing the ball, you don't rush, and you'll start getting results.
Well, let's see how his night's going to end. It's going to end with a
return back to the dugout. Kevin Burkhardt, what's up, my friend?
Well, hello, Joe. The Rays are going for the sweep. We'd all like to be Randy Arozarena. This guy had 84 career at-bats coming into the postseason. He's got 5 home runs. That one ties it up, so the Rays and Astros tied at 2. Post-game show follows. Big storyline there, Joe, is Big Papi's still in the building and still awake. Back to you.
And a 6-pack. Oh, wait, 12-pack.
How about the other big story is the St. Louis Cardinals that had an outfield that had a production level that was amazingly low.
Different, yeah.
Gave away, and now they got Matthew Liberatore, a good young left-handed pitcher. But Randy Arozarena was in that deal that had Jose Martinez going the other way. It felt like Martinez was the big piece of that trade. No, by the way, here's Arozarena, who's done nothing but hit in the minor leagues. And that kid is a postseason star, and he's got kind of the same attributes as it's almost like a little bit of a thicker bats. The way, I mean, he's got great bat speed. He's all over the place. He's got a lot of life. It's like, man, did Tampa Bay just steal someone?
I'll tell you what, last 3 years. Nice. The Rays, we'd like to do a deal. Click. No, we'd like to trade Click.
Yeah. It's almost like if you know they want your guy,
hang up.
Hang up and give the guy a raise. 1 out, nobody on. Peterson at the plate.
By the way, that was me in the late 80s, early 90s, before we started. I'd call a golf course. Hey, this is John Smoltz. We'd like to come. Click. Who? Boy, things changed.
How about 4 tickets behind home plate to tonight's World Series? Well, hello. Come on out here.
Hello, sailor.
Here's a ground ball left side. No chance. Peterson on base for the 4th time tonight. He wasn't on long the first time when he hit a 3-run home run. He just took a trot. Our dynamic play of the game presented by Hankook Tire. Corey Seager just all over the place while he was in there. A double, a single, and a blast. The longest home run of the night. Of the 5 hit by the Dodgers. And then he checked out after his 4th plate appearance in the 4th.
Safe to say Jock Peterson will be in the lineup tomorrow?
I would say yes. Jock 1 for 3 coming in this LCS. 3 for 9 in the postseason. He's got 4 hits. 3 singles and a 3-run home run. He pounded the other way back in the 1st. Edwin Rios at the plate. Reminder tomorrow, Clayton Kershaw, Bryce Wilson. Talk about a difference in experience. Kershaw and Wilson. Coverage begins at 7:30 Eastern on Fox and FS1.
Yeah, the hardest part for Mr. Wilson, obviously, is seeing what he's seeing tonight and trying to block that out and trust the scouting reports and pitch accordingly. And the one thing you can't do, and again, easier said than done, is think about pitching against Clayton Kershaw. You're not facing him. But what ends up happening when you know you're going into a matchup against a historic great pitcher, the first thought that comes to your mind is, oh, I can't give up many runs. Trust your offense, trust your stuff, and whatever innings you're able to provide for your manager, that's your job. That's what you're asked to do. You're not asked to go toe-to-toe, pitch 7 innings.
Oh-2 the count on Rios. A homer and a walk tonight. That is a strike over the inside corner. And Shane Green is Looking good here tonight. Third strikeout. He's retired 3 guys, all with strikeouts, trying to pitch around that 1-out hit. You know, the common narrative, Kenny Rosenthal, about Kershaw are the misses in the postseason, and he's under 500 during LCS play. But man, they have called on him a ton, and he has definitely turned in some gems too.
He has, Joe, and we know about the misses because they've been blow-ups really unlike any he's had in the regular season. But he has had also a series of excellent games in the postseason that tend to get overlooked. And what also tends to get overlooked is the way the Dodgers have used him, sending him out for an extra inning, using him on 3 days rest. A lot of different factors have gone into this. Now, I'm not making excuses for Kershaw. He wouldn't make excuses for himself. But this is not quite as simple as, oh, this guy is terrible in October. That has not always been the case. On many occasions, including Game 1 of the 2017 World Series against the Astros, he was excellent in October.
Yeah, and so here's his opportunity tomorrow, they hope, if he wakes up feeling good. The next day, whatever, he's been dealing with back spasms, to just keep rewriting his own story. In October, what he's done on the mound. I went through the numbers before. I mean,
3 flukish innings. 3 that stand out to me. Like 7 runs with 2 outs against the Cardinals. Stuff like that. It was against the Cardinals, basically, where you start seeing the crack in the armor, right? Because in the regular season, you never saw any of that. And so all of a sudden, oh, he's human. And then the pressing factor of carrying a franchise, what Kenny's talking about. He had to carry the franchise for almost all of that, and now he's got help. Now he's not, quote-unquote, not the ace, and that all helps the legacy of Clayton Kershaw when he's on the mound.
This will be his 35th game tomorrow, 28th start. He has won 11 games in his career in the postseason.
You know, the battle that every great player faces when you get to the level of the postseason year in and year out is you fight the passion of caring so much that you can press your way into issues where you've got to kind of have, it's not that you relax and kick back, but the one thing about the postseason is you don't get to, you know, you have 3 dominant years in a row and you have 1 bad year in a regular season. No one thinks 2 seconds about that. But have 1 or 2 bad games in the postseason, it's tougher because they focus on it.
How about the job done by Shane Green? Got 4 outs, all 4 via the strikeout. Bottom of the 9th inning. Last chance for Atlanta. Down by 14.
See, this right here is when all the local fans don't like the national play-by-play guy. They think I cooked this up. Okay, I have nothing to do. I'm not even going to read it. You read it. You can do it. Not talking. Okay? Not my idea. I don't type that stuff in. Okay. Bottom of the 9th inning. First up is Flowers, and a line drive into left center field is a base hit. Now 1 for 3 after taking over for Travis d'Arnaud. Tyler Flowers is aboard in a 15-1 game. So here is Albies. Talked about him missing 4 weeks with that right wrist contusion. We saw them wrapping up that wrist, and might be just standard protocol for a guy that's been bothered by it, because the way he's swinging the bat, unless something has popped up here recently, there's nothing wrong with this guy.
And this is the side he likes. I mean, he prefers the right-handed side. Just check out all his numbers. He's dominating left-handers in his career.
Kolarek is on the mound.
It went Urias for 5.
He'll get the win. He'll be a total of 6-0 on the year, 3-0 this postseason. He's been phenomenal. Kenley Jansen, a clean inning. Baez, a perfect inning with 2 strikeouts. Alex Wood, 1 hit, 2 strikeouts over an inning. Now Kolarek. And the count is 0-2 on Albies.
Saw Kolarek, ERA under 1. I mean, it is hard for me to see how this guy gets hit at times.
That's into left center field and down to the wall. Beatty couldn't get to it. Digging to third is Flowers on a double by Albies, and he's got his first hit of the night. This guy likes the ninth inning. He loves the ninth inning.
He loves left-handers. He just does. I mean, you can see, even though it looks like his hips, he keeps his hands back. Opens up, finds the gap.
Two-run shot in the ninth inning, a home run in game one. A solo home run in the ninth inning in game two. And now a double in the ninth inning here in game three. Here is Dansby Swanson.
Braves might be thinking, hey, it worked for the Dodgers the ninth inning before. They can cook up some feel-good moments heading into tomorrow. Of course, they'll be the home team again. Middle three games.
Kolarek last night went an inning, and the run that was scored against him on a home run by Albies in what looked to be a blowout game ended up being the difference.
It is amazing.
It was 7-0 into the bottom of the seventh. The game ended 8-7 with the tying run at third on a pretty sharply hit ground ball by Pollock that was played well by the third baseman Austin Riley. Second and third, nobody out, nothing into the count on Dansby. Don't call me Charlie Culberson.
Oh,
Swanson.
man. How can you not? Separated at birth.
That is strike three over the inside corner. And one out here in the bottom of the ninth. Good pitch by Kolarek. Albies, who, as we said, the only player in postseason history to homer in the ninth inning in back-to-back games. Did it in games 1 and 2. It's in postseason history. Did it in games 1 and 2 of this LCS. Has a double. Giving the RBI chance to Austin Riley, who's 0 for 3 and takes a strike over the inside corner. Jock Peterson tonight, by the way, the second Dodgers outfielder with 4 hits in a postseason game. The other, Dusty Baker, Johnny Beef Baker, a buddy who is managing to try and stay alive in the ALCS.
4-2. Houston.
For Dusty's team. He did that, by the way, in 1978 NLCS Game 4 against Philly. Here's a 1-1 pitch, chopped to the right side. A run will score. To his left is Taylor, out number 2. And it's 15-2. The Dodgers there, John, were willing to give up the run for the out.
They replay this later tonight, right? I'm going to rewatch this game.
This has been easily one of the most recent games I've done. Here's Camargo. Runner at third is Albies. 13-run game in the ninth inning.
Are you local or from around here?
Feels very local right now. I feel like Brockmeyer. Here's a 1-0 pitch, and it's just down and away. 2 balls, no strikes with a runner at third, 2 out. 15-2, Dodgers leading, trying to get on the board in this NLCS. That's into right center field, going to plug the gap. A run scores. It's 15-3, all the way to the wall. And digging into second is Johan Camargo. A 2-out RBI double, his first hit of the night, of the series, of the postseason. He has had some good swings tonight, and he has shown some thump from this side of the plate. So Kolarek has given up. 2 runs on 3 hits. Runner at second, 2 out. Number 9 man is Pache, who has homered tonight. Grounded out, lined out. And has become the 3rd non-pitcher all-time to hit his first career home run of the postseason. He had just 4 at-bats during the regular season. They are excited about Christian Pache. Here is the 0-1 pitch, and down and in, a ball and a strike. Braves winning streak of 7 straight to start this postseason will end tonight.
And they'll have to remind everybody, if they don't already know, it's just 1 loss. This game didn't count for 2 losses, right? The storylines, again, mentally in a 7-game series always sway from the questions you're asked to, and you just have to be better than that and have good teammates to understand it's, hey, wasn't our night.
And the Dodgers will have to crank it up again tomorrow night. This one is a play by Muncy. Good feed, and Kolarek is there. And game 3 now officially belongs to the Dodgers, 15-3. And the Braves lead in this NLCS 2-1, an 11-run first inning. All the scoring by the Dodgers over the first 3 innings. Urias goes to 3-0 this postseason. And they hope to hand the ball to Clayton Kershaw tomorrow for game 4 against Bryce Wilson. A 4-hour, 15-minute fun one tonight in Arlington, Texas. For John and Kenny and Tom and Pete, our producer, and Matt Gangle, our director, I'm Joe. Until tomorrow night, we say hello, Kevin.